This message is for the dreamers, the determined, the brave. Yes, you who have always desired a job in tech and have stepped out of your comfort zone to pursue this dream. This is your year. The tech world is not just for techies, it's for anyone who dares to dream, to learn, and to grow. Remember, you're not just changing jobs, you're transforming lives, yours and those of your loved ones. You might feel out of place at times, unsure, or even overwhelmed. Yes, the road to six-figure tech role may seem daunting, but within you lies the strength to overcome, the capacity to learn, and the power to succeed. Let this new year be the year you redefine what's possible. Your path in tech is not just a possibility, it's your reality waiting to be shaped. We believe in you. Now take the lead. Remember, your only limitations are the ones you set upon yourself. Good luck, and may this year be your best year yet. Okay, so welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Regardless of where you're joining from, you're absolutely welcome. I can see Kelly has already asked for different locations, and it's incredible that we have people joining from all over Canada. I can see Moscow. So welcome everybody. Today promises this message is Today promises to be a super insightful session. And the reason is simply because we have a platform that exists and has existed for a very long time with incredible opportunities within the platform. But unfortunately, most of us are not even aware of some of those capabilities. And the goal today is to help you understand the platform you have, and that platform is called LinkedIn. So, a friend of mine told me last week that he made some changes to his LinkedIn profile, and since then, recruiters are reaching out to him left, right, and center. He just changed the job title and put something more reflective of his role, and that just transformed the calls he's getting from recruiters. So the goal for today's session is to help you understand what that job seeker's LinkedIn playbook looks like. And we have an expert that will be taking us through that program. But before we get to that point, I just want to introduce myself, introduce the organization bringing this workshop to you. My name is Stephen Adindo, and I'm the lead coach at the Career Accelerators, where we provide a path for non-tech professionals looking to transition or seamlessly transition into fantastic tech role. Because the world of IT is evolving. You know, these days you hear AI, these days you hear blockchain technology, you hear all sorts. And our role is to ensure that we're always strategically positioned to transition seamlessly. Okay, so our promise for you today is that if you stay till the end of this program, you will 100% learn how to make the most of your LinkedIn profile, right? Because most times we have a LinkedIn profile and we're just waiting for something to happen without realizing that we have the ability to make things happen. We just have to be strategic about it. We just have to be intentional about it. And we just need to, you know, just understand the strategies, right? Understand the process, understand the playbook. And that is what we're going to get today. And then also, you're going to learn how to master your digital footprint. So when organizations search for you on LinkedIn or just online, like what do they see? What will they see? Who comes up? Will the person that shows up be the person they want to continue to have a conversation with? Or will the person that shows up be a ghost, just non-existent, right? It's up to you. You can actually design all of that in. You're going to learn how to network with confidence. LinkedIn is an incredible networking tool, and there's so many strategies to position yourself to be found, but also to proactively reach out to people. You will learn all of that today from an expert who has lived this, who has achieved incredible success through this, and he'll be sharing those tips with us today. And then also as a bonus, we have coaching programs and we do have discounts available for today. So we'll also make those discounts available to whoever wants to work with us. But before we dive in, just a quick word of advice, because we're about to gain a lot of knowledge. Today's session this is not just a webinar where we talk to you. This is a workshop where we show you, where we interact with you, where we work through this together. So one of the things that we strongly recommend is that you minimize distraction. So if you need to go into a quiet place, need to go into a room, need to go somewhere where you won't be distracted, please do, because it's really important that you make the most of this opportunity. And then one other thing about us as an organization is that we love to interact. It's not just about us talking to you or talking at you. It's about us having a conversation because we want you to leave today's session with all of your questions answered. And that is our promise to you. So if you do have any questions, please put it in the chat. And also at some point we'll get to the Q&A where we would make it open and invite people up to the stage to ask their questions. But in the meantime, you can pop it into the chat so you don't forget it and so we have visibility of it as well. But this is an opportunity for you to have all your LinkedIn, all your personal branding, all your positioning related questions answered by an expert in this space. Okay. Now, one thing I want us to go through quickly is what I call the hiring certainty pyramid. And I'll go through this quickly because I think it's important for us to just pause and understand the hiring process. I'm assuming most of us, if not all of us, are working or in the job market or looking for a role. And I want you to understand how hiring happens from the lowest certainty path to hiring to the highest certainty path to hiring. So the lowest certainty is literally what we all do. So we go on Indeed, we go on all these job boards, and we push our applications. That is the lowest certainty because other people have explored other strategies, right? That we're going to see in a second. But that is the lowest certainty because you have everybody applying for these roles. And this is the reason why most times even experts get frustrated because you're applying with hundreds of other people. You're applying with so many other people that even before they get to your profile, they actually, have made their decision. So this is the lowest certainty path towards getting attention from recruiters and towards getting attention from hiring managers. The next up is the talent pool. So every organization, especially the bigger ones, have like a talent pool where they just, ask you to send your resume and they'll consider you whenever they get to it or whenever they have an opportunity. That is the second most certain path. And again, as you know, some may not even leverage that talent pool. Others may, when the opportunity comes up, they might just drag someone else in and put in that role. So that is the second least certain path. Now, the next one is the direct application. So this is where you apply directly to the company's site for an opportunity that is open. Again, this has an increased certainty of getting the job, but it's it also at the same time is not the most certain because there are other almost surefire ways to get the right level of attention. The next one is network. So this is where we start to get into the realms of, almost being sure of getting an interview, almost being sure of, getting the job just because you're leveraging people that people that know your capability are putting in a word for you. So that's the fourth most certain path. Now, the third one is the headhunter. This is where you have positioned yourself strategically to be found. So when recruiters are looking for, the best business analyst or a project manager or a cybersecurity specialist or a software developer, they can find you because you've positioned yourself to be found, right? And then the next one is the employee referral. So this is where before the job even goes public, internally people are making connections. That is almost as certain. When someone refers you from a company, you're almost guaranteed to get notice, to get an interview, to get the job. If you're good, you're almost guaranteed to get the job. And the competition, as we go up this pyramid, the competition reduces significantly. And then the last, but not the least, and the most certain path is an internal move. So you're in an organization, there's an opportunity in another department, and someone just tells you this is happening, and you just switch across. That is the most certain. But one thing I want you to pay attention to in this pyramid is the top four. So the top four goes away from trial and error into you actually being proactive, whether it's networking, whether it's positioning yourself to be headhunted, whether it's having an internal person that can refer you for a role. And the top four is where LinkedIn comes in. So for you to make the most of LinkedIn, for you to get into this top four recruitment channels, you need to maximize your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn is one of those few places where you can actually reach out to someone and say, I saw a job in your company and I would like you to refer me. This is what I bring to the table. And the person can actually refer you for that role. There's no other way you can do that. You can't do it on Instagram. You can't do it on Facebook. You can't do it on Twitter. But LinkedIn is where you can see where the person works and you can reach out to them directly, which is incredible. So who is today's session for? Today's session is for fresh graduates, international students. So if you're trying to get in, if you're overwhelmed with the job market, if you've been applying and not getting the right level of attention, this is for you because you're going to learn incredible insights that will make a world of difference. It's also for former professionals. So maybe you've built a career in another field and you're looking to transition into another field. This is for you because it helps you with positioning. It helps you with organizing and translating the skills that you have for the role that you desire. This is also for new immigrants. So you're navigating a new country, trying to figure out where do I fit into this whole picture? This is for you. And then for anybody that may be underemployed, because this is a real challenge. I've seen people with PhDs, I've seen people with master's degrees, but then they are underemployed. They're not doing the job that is commensurate with their qualification. And they're trying to find new opportunities. This is for you because it would help you understand how to completely reposition yourself and make the most of LinkedIn as a platform. And then last but not the least, anybody that desires to change their career. So if you desire to change your career, you want to be more visible, this is for you. Okay. So just a little bit more about myself by way of introduction. So I do have over 15 years experience, got my PMP CSM certification in 2020. In 2018, I got my Certified Business Analysis Practitioner certification. I got my professional Scrum Product Owner certification in 2017. And I just want us to, I'll kind of just skip through the other qualifications and go right back to 2011 when I got my Prince 2 practitioner. So I have been in this space for over 15 years and I have experience across 3 different continents. But my most proud achievement is the fact that I have helped directly transform the lives of over 500 people who are now working and doing excellently well in the tech space. And with that being said, I'll transition into something that I feel everybody can relate to, especially when it comes to, learning, when it comes to, trying to achieve, trying to become better versions of ourselves. One key thing is that motivations play a key role in our lives. So I would like to take maybe a few minutes before I hand over to our guest to talk through some motivations that help us, that help us make the right decisions, that push us in the right direction, etc. So I want us to go on a journey, on a quick journey. And that journey is one that I want us to think through. What would it feel like if we can achieve any of these items? What would it feel like if we can achieve any of these items? Because sometimes we only think we're capable of just going on job boards and applying for jobs, right? We only think, oh, we have to wait till an opportunity presents itself. But we forget that there are people that never go on job boards to apply for jobs. I know someone that throughout his life, he has never applied for a job, but he's a crazy networker. He has never applied for a job. It's always been, oh, there's an opportunity here. He goes. There's an opportunity here. He goes. To the extent that he was asked to lead a top startup in Africa at some point. He was kind of handpicked to lead the startup. And he did an incredible job. So what would it feel like? I want us to pause and go on this journey, and then I'll hand over to our incredible host, incredible guest. What would it feel like if you can achieve any of these? Now, let's go through a couple. The first one is if you can be headhunted for your dream job. So this is not applying for jobs and being frustrated. This is actually, sitting in your room and then you get a call, you get a text message, you get an email saying, we saw your profile and we're really, really interested in getting you onto our team. How would that feel? And this is not you, applying, trying to think about how best to tell your story. No, this is you having positioned yourself and recruiters, hiring managers are competing for your attention. How would that feel? Just think about that for a second. Now, the second one is one that a colleague of mine told me about, and I was shocked when they told me this story. So they are pretty active on LinkedIn, and one day they were trying to make a switch, and the senior manager that was interviewing them said, "Look, I'm a fan of your work on LinkedIn. I've seen I can see what you're doing. I can see your posting. I can see and even started telling them about some of their posts. Like she was literally blown away. So this is the whole idea. Sometimes you can position yourself, and when you go for an interview, you're actually being recognized by the hiring manager. Oh, it's you, Mario. Oh, it's you, Michael. Oh, it's you, Kelly. Can I kindly, anyway, I'll just mute everybody. Um, Okay, so you just go into that interview and you're being recognized because of your work. How would that feel? It just turns that interview into a conversation, not just an interview, but a chat. And then also, how would it feel if you were in a position to negotiate your salary and working conditions? Now, these days, some organizations are talking about going back into the office, but how would it feel if you can actually say, no, I want to work, at least 3 days from home every week, and I can come in 2 days in the office? How would it feel if you can say, I want to work full time from home because you know the value you bring? How would that feel? And then how would it feel if you can be referred for roles and promotions by people that know you, right? So this is not just about you, fighting for promotions or you trying to, play the politics to get promotions. It's just a simple case of someone saying, I know this guy, he'll be great for this role, and that's it. It just ends the conversation there. How will that feel for a second? And then last but not the least, how would it feel to be in the driver's seat of your career, taking full ownership of your career? Being able to design your career in whatever way you want. How will that feel? I want us to take some time and think about that. And this is the reason why you need to learn the job seeker's playbook. You need to learn how to make the most of LinkedIn because it's a platform, it's free. You can literally see, like, there's so many things on LinkedIn that um, once you start to discover, once you start to dive in, you just be shocked at the incredible opportunities just lying there waiting for you to make the most of. And with that, I'm going to introduce our special guest today. Um, for those that are active on LinkedIn, you probably know him already because he's a celebrity. He's one of the LinkedIn stars. He was featured recently in one of the major publications in Canada for leaving us in Canada and relocating to San Francisco. And he is an incredible human being. So I'll tell you a short story before I hand over to Kelly. First of all, he's a senior technical project manager in one of the top fastest growing companies in the past 1 year in Silicon Valley. He has over 9 years experience in manufacturing, robotics, automation, uh, clean tech, and IT in general. He's a speaker. He's a career coach. He has over 30,000 LinkedIn followers. Now, but that is not, I mean, this is incredible. But there are two other things I would like to say about Kelly before I hand over to him. The first one is 2 years ago, I had a conversation with Kelly, and he said something to me. Again, part of what he's going to share with you today, he shared with me 2 years ago. He said something to me. He said, Steve, you need to be more visible. I see you in church. You're available, online. I can reach out to you, but you need to be more visible. You need to attend more events. You need to just come out a little bit more. You have so much to share with people, but you're not in the right spaces. Because of the kind of person I was, like someone else would have taken it like, no, what's he talking about? This, that. But I listened. I learned a few things from him, asked him a few questions, started going out. And within a space of 6 months after we had that conversation, I landed an incredible, it's just like it was a dream. I landed an incredible partnership with the University of Toronto purely because of the networking opportunities, just being visible. The right people saw me. And I landed this incredible opportunity with University of Toronto, the Black Founders Network, and it just opened like an incredible set of doors. So that's 2 years ago. Last year, I I heard on LinkedIn that Kelly has moved to the States, and I was like, bro, you didn't take me along with you. Just kidding. I was like, oh, what's up? Tell me more. And then we had a conversation. On the back of that conversation, I got so much value from that conversation that I invested in a company and made $60,000 just from that conversation. And it's if I had waited till now, I would have made $100,000. I was saying this to Kelly. It would have been $100,000. So I'm saying all of this to say that there are some people that you meet that you add value to their lives, you contribute to their journey, because I did contribute to Kelly's journey years ago when he was part of one of our executive programs. I did contribute to his journey, but we built a relationship that has lasted and grown stronger over time, such that even till now, we're still doing things together. And that's the sort of relationship you want to build. That's the sort of networking you want to have. And it just goes to show the kind of person that we will all be learning from today. So what I ask you to do is, if there's any distraction, put it away and just grab your pens, grab your papers, notepads, phones, whatever it is where you make your notes. And please make sure you ask questions, because what you have is incredible value. Um, Kelly, it's been a year, since we started planning this, and we have him now. So let's make the most of his time. So with that, I'll hand over to you, Kelly. Thank you so much for making out the time. I know it's 7 a.m. where you are in Silicon Valley, and you said, no, I'll make it happen. Don't worry, Steve, I'll make it happen. So it's incredible. Thank you, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Steve. Um, Not sure where to start from, but yeah, it's quite early on my end, and I've had a very long week. Last night, I think we were talking. Even after my long week, I had to go to church, and I came home like, you know what, I'm done. But my word is my bond. So, and I think there's a lot of value to give out today. While you had my face plastered on the screen, I was just like, wait, is that actually me? Actually, I took a screenshot, by the way. So I think I'm going to be using this for other sessions like this. But yeah, me and Steve will go back a little bit. And when I decided as an engineer, it was time for me to transition into project management. There was one name that came up, and that was, Steve and the TCA group. And I took that program, and it was a very eye-opening program for me where um, it gave me the confidence I needed. And Steve, if you remember vividly, even before I finished the program, I was so confident where I actually landed the job, I think midway through the program. When everyone was like scrambling to find jobs at the end,
Yeah.
I already landed my role as a PM. So
Yeah.
that was a very uh, I would say an important moment in my life, or should I say my career journey. And I want people to pay attention. Um, Not just for the substance and getting ready for the spotlight, but also how you position yourself in the market. So without further ado, let's just get started. All I ask is for the next 30, 35 minutes, just give me your ears. This is going to be a power-packed session. I know the audience will have a lot of questions. So please start, dumping your questions in the chat. And at the end, we'll answer your question. If there's a pressing question I would like to answer, I may just pick the question and answer it. But please stay away from every distraction. So maybe Steve, if I can steal the screen. Let me see. There we go. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. And we'll make sure I can see everyone as well. Okay, awesome. So LinkedIn, right? We're all here for LinkedIn, how we can leverage this amazing free tool to position ourselves in a market where we become visible, as opposed to chasing recruiters, chasing hiring managers. You attract them, right? Personally, I'm at a place in my life where I don't get to apply for a lot of jobs anymore. The reason is I'm at a point where I have strategically positioned myself in the market where I get recruiters coming to me. So every other week, There's either a call I'm taking from a recruiter, there's either an interview I'm doing, not because I want to jump ship, but just because I'm visible and people see me, they see the value I give out to my community, they see the work I do, it's visible to them, and that's why they head hunt me. My current job, I got it because of LinkedIn. I can remember vividly the recruiter said, Kelly, like I saw your resume, I knew you were a strong candidate. But the moment I logged into your LinkedIn and I saw what you were doing, not just within the corporate walls, but outside the corporate walls, I knew you were the talent to get. 1 year later, I'm still here, blooming. So so beyond LinkedIn, I like to tell people beyond LinkedIn, we all have profile pictures. You need to peel the onion. You need to go behind the profile picture. Okay. So the goal for today, at least for me, is I want you to leave at least my session with three key things. One is how do you become visible online? LinkedIn is one of those tools without chasing recruiters and brands. If you're a business owner, right? Brands. How do you build a strong personal brand that attracts high paying opportunities? I want to say high paying opportunities. I am referring to high paying jobs, six figure plus jobs, but also for three, four, 5 figure brand deals if you're a business owner. And then how you can actually grow your audience organically and massively. It is important, right? Yes, I like to refer to LinkedIn not as, oh, I have 30,000 followers. No, I have a 30,000 audience. You need to start thinking of your LinkedIn as an audience, not just followers, like you have on Instagram. Okay. So let me just walk back a little bit and tell you about my LinkedIn story. So I've been on LinkedIn, just like most people here. I've been on the platform for over a decade. That's a long time. I remember vividly, I set up my LinkedIn, which is the one I still use today, after a couple months of landing in Canada, right? And I've been using it just like most people here, where let's say I get a new job, I will post, hey, I got a new job. Or maybe I took one course, I will show up and say, hey, I took this course. And that was it. I wasn't doing much with it. Maybe if I needed a new job, I would message one or two people like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you refer me? That was all I was doing with it. But just over 2 years ago, I decided to start taking LinkedIn seriously because I'm a numbers guy and I started seeing a trend on LinkedIn. I believe the next set of stars, celebrities, millionaires are going to be made on LinkedIn. So it's either you're coming through the business entrepreneurial path or you're coming through the corporate career path. But the next set of millionaires are going to be made on LinkedIn. So I decided to start taking it seriously. So in 2024, I I ended LinkedIn with a 5,000 connection. To me, that was crazy because I had a target of ending the year with 1,500, but I ended it with 5,000. I'm like, wow. And over that period, I've been able to grow my audience past 30,000 mark. I think right now I'm sitting close to 33,000 at the moment, right? So that's how much organically I've grown my audience. And I have started to reap the fruits from LinkedIn. And since then, I have moved from Canada to Silicon Valley. From Silicon Valley now, I am a global voice. I am approached by brands to partner with them. I am approached with companies who want me to work with them every other week, right? Uh, oh, sorry. Someone on mute. Abdul, I think you. Um, can we mute Abdul, please? Thank you.
Yep.
Um, Yeah, so that is just my own story. And this can be your story. I'm just a regular guy, regular kid from Nigeria, right? If I can do it, if I can figure it out, you can as well. And that's why we're here. So let's start with a problem. Most of you are on this call because you believe there's a problem with your LinkedIn. You believe there's something about LinkedIn you haven't figured out yet. And hopefully, I would answer that question here. I think the first thing is most people, most professionals are invisible online. And let me say something. It is contrarian, but in 2026, if you are a business owner or a career professional, if you have no online footprint, you technically do not exist. I know it sounds bonkers, but let me say that again. If you do not have an online footprint in the digital age, you and your business technically do not exist. All right? Most people treat LinkedIn as a resume or job board. They come there, they post their resume. Hey, I'm looking for a job. and then they come look for a job. Easy apply, easy apply, easy apply, right? And doing that, what happens is you start chasing recruiters up and down, to and fro, instead of attracting them. You're just one person. You shouldn't be chasing 100 recruiters. Why don't you position yourself in a market where you become visible, you deliver value, you show your talent, you show your experience, and then let those 100 recruiters come to you instead. It is a great feeling. Let me tell you, Steve said this earlier. What would it feel like if you get to negotiate the best salary, the best working terms? I'm at a point in my life where when recruiters reach out to me, which they don't do with a lot of people, the first two questions I ask them is this: what is the budget for the role? So recruiters are already telling me the budget of the role even before we have any other conversation. You are in a fantastic position where you get to ask for whatever you want, whatever you deserve. Okay. And then another thing I notice people do is just posting about the companies they work for as opposed to building their personal brands on LinkedIn. Again, whatever company you work for, even if you love what you do, love the company you work for, at the end of the day, in that company, you are just a number. You can get replaced tomorrow. All of us can get replaced tomorrow. So instead of just building and promoting the brand of of the company you work for, start building your own personal brand and start promoting that. Because you can take that brand and get up from Apple, go to Google, you still have that brand. Leave Google, go to GM, you still have that brand. That's what you need to do for yourself. And the result of all of this I just talked about, you get overlooked, you get underpaid, severely underpaid, and you just miss opportunities. That is what most of you are here for, to really understand the problem and how to solve it. And I'll walk you through how you can solve it. Okay. So on the screen here, you can easily see these are some of the most valuable global brands, whether it's Netflix, whether it's, you know what? Let's see. I just want to make sure the audience are engaging here. I'm going to ask the question. When you see the McDonald's logo, what comes to your mind? Please let me know in the chat. What comes to mind the moment you see the McDonald's logo, the golden arches? What comes to your mind? I want to see what people think of when they see McDonald's. Burgers, okay, that's good. Food, right? Real estate, that's a smart man. Michael, you're a smart man. Global, fast food, happy stomach, right? Fountain machine, that's what you think about. Okay, let me ask another question. When you see Walmart, what comes to mind? Walmart, what comes to mind? When you see this blue and yellow logo, what comes to mind? Okay, I see franchise, industry. Okay, affordable, light, supply chain. Boom. I think you guys get it. The reason why you think of these things is branding. These huge organizations have branded themselves. That's why when you see the Apple logo, you think of the iPhone, you think of the internet. You see Toyota, you think of reliability, right? You think of Prado, Land Cruisers, Corolla, right? Mobility, affordability. That's what you think about. So these companies have branded themselves. That's why you think of these things. So the question now is, as an individual, why don't you brand yourself? So when you're not in the room, when your name is mentioned, people think of positive emotions, positive feelings, thoughtful feelings. That's what you need to do for yourself. You need to brand yourself. Okay? And I'll show you guys how to do it. Like I said, I've built a personal brand on LinkedIn where it's giving me the visibility I attract now as opposed to chasing. Okay? So a strong personal brand, and by the way, guys, the way I am curating this, I'm not saying, hey, go create your LinkedIn, put profile picture, none of that. I am centering on personal brand because you need to change your perspective. Okay. So strong personal brand will attract trust and credibility. That's what a strong personal brand does for you. A strong personal brand would help you build authority in your field, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in business, whether you're in engineering, whether you're in project management, whether you're in IT. It helps you build authority in your field. It establishes you as an expert. People start seeing you as the expert. People start seeing you as the go-to person to talk about project management. People start seeing you as the go-to person when it comes to careers in tech. People start seeing you when it comes to careers in marketing. Okay? You invite new business and career opportunities. It means that people see you. Trust me, you never know who is watching. I'll tell you guys a story shortly. You get noticed by your peers, recruiters, and potential employers. You just never know who's watching. And that's why I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn has over 1 billion members. You just never know who's watching. I'll tell you a story. Maybe I'm not sure if I shared this with you, Steve, but earlier this year, I had a situation where I was back in Toronto for the holidays for Christmas, and I was flying back to San Francisco. But unfortunately, I miscalculated the travel rush at the airport. This was the first time I experienced it living over a decade in Canada. I was getting to Pearson Toronto Airport, so much traffic getting to the airport. I was already running behind on my flight. I got into the airport. I was trying to check in my bag. Apparently, it was close to my flight that the airline told me I cannot check in my travel luggage, my check-in luggage. Lucky enough, again, I was able to sweet talk my way with some agent. She's like, okay, here's what I'll do for you, Kelly. I'll tag your bag, but you got to go to the opposite end of the airport to go check in, like to go throw your bag in the machine. So I said, sure. She tagged my bag. I was sprinting across the airport, like, get out of the way, get out of the way. I go to the other end of the airport, the terminal, go to the machine. I try to load my bag. Machine says, no, can't do. I was just thinking, I'm like, God, okay, what do I do now? I'm going to miss my flight. What am I going to do with my luggage? Do I need to go ship my luggage first and then also try to catch my flight at the same time? There's no time. While I was all struggling there, some guy walked up to me, random guy, walks up to me. He's like, oh, sir, any issues? I said, yes. The machine refused to take my bag. I think it's past my flight time. You know what he did? He tried to punch stuff in the machine, didn't work. He calls on one of his colleagues across the area. She comes in, she punches the code into the machine. So I think she pretty much bypassed the machine. Uh, my bag, boom, goes in. I looked at this guy. I'm like, you are a lifesaver, sir. I got to run to security. You know what he told me? He said, I'm a big fan. I follow you on LinkedIn. I see you on LinkedIn and you've changed my life. I'm like, wow, okay. I never expected this is the person I was going to meet here. We took a selfie. I didn't even get his name. I sprinted for security. Boom. Right? I think when I landed in Canada, like when I was flying, I kept on thinking, I'm like, how come? How come? Right? And then when I go home, I had to write a post about it. I'm like, I don't know who you are, sir, but you saved my life. You don't know what you did for me. And he eventually reached out to me and he said, Kelly, I've been following you for about 2 years. I used to make about $46,000, but I followed your content every day. I wake up, I look for your content, and today I think he's already at $142,000 or something like that within 2 years. So you never know who's watching. So content, value, content. That is how you build a personal brand. You become the go-to person, and you just never know who you're inspiring, and you never know the lives you're changing. That's the extra benefit of building a strong personal brand. I just wanted to tell that story. Okay, so cracking LinkedIn. So the question is always, but Kelly, you've told us all of this. So how do I really crack LinkedIn? Here's a couple of things you need to do for yourself. Most people, right? Because I want to change your mindset now. Most people ask me questions like, I don't know what or who to comment on LinkedIn. Other times they're like, I don't have time, Kelly, to comment on LinkedIn all day. It's a waste of my time. Other times they're like, posting is just a waste of my time. I don't want to post. I'm an introvert, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, sure. Here's what you need to start thinking. I want you to change your mindset. On LinkedIn, the algorithm changed recently where writing one comment gives you more visibility than actually posting on the platform. Yes, posting is good. Continue doing that. But actually showing up in the comments is one of the best way you can actually get visible on LinkedIn. I'm at a point now where I don't typically hold DM people. I just show up in their comments. I engage with them for like 1 to 2 weeks. Most times they message me first, like, hey Kelly, I see you've been engaging in my content for the last 2 weeks. Thank you for engaging. Is there anything I can help you with? So just by showing up in their comments, I am becoming visible to them. That is what you need to start doing, right? And I want you to start writing your comments with intent. Stop writing, congratulations, leave it there. No, think from the heart. Write something that shows you're human, not a robot. And may I recommend here, by the way, guys, I started to notice a trend on LinkedIn. People, it's one thing to use AI to write your scripts for LinkedIn, which is not a problem, but it's one thing for you to start using AI to comment on LinkedIn. It's a bad habit because now everyone is starting to sound robotic. Everyone is starting to sound AI. So try to write your comments with intent. Okay? So what you need to do is this. You need to stop being just a proper picture on LinkedIn. Oh, I set up my LinkedIn. Kelly, I have a profile picture. I have the job I'm looking for. That's it. You spend hours. Check your phone right now, guys. Check your phone. See how much hours you spend on Instagram. You'll be shocked in a day. But you cannot spend that same amount of time on LinkedIn. You're looking for business opportunity. You're looking for career opportunities, but you're only spending 2 minutes on LinkedIn, but you're spending 7 hours on Instagram. Then you're not serious. You're not ready. In 2025, in this digital age, if you do not pay attention to digital tools like LinkedIn, you're going nowhere. Let me say that. I know it's going to be frustrating for a lot of people to hear, but you're going nowhere. If you spend more time scrolling reels on Instagram than you actually do spending on growing your career and becoming visible on LinkedIn, you're going nowhere in terms of career. I know it's hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Okay? So you need to stop just being a profile picture on LinkedIn. Open LinkedIn and leave it dormant for a whole month. You might as well not have LinkedIn at all. You need to start being a voice. You need to start advocating for yourself on LinkedIn. You need to become a storyteller. No one knows you better than you. No one knows you better than you. You need to become a storyteller. Find ways to tell your story. Thankfully, in today's day and age, we have something called AI. You can actually talk to ChatGPT or Gemini, tell them your story, and it will polish it up for you. That is how you write on LinkedIn. Yes, some people tell me, but Kelly, I'm not a good writer. I don't read a lot. Yes, I know you're not a great writer, but you can leverage digital tools to help you tell more stories. And the last thing is you need to become a thought leader. And I'll shed more light on who a thought leader is. A thought leader is someone like Steve, who, when it comes to transitioning into IT tech related roles, he's your man. You go to TCA. He TCA has built this thought leadership around that space, right? That's what you need to do for yourself. So whether you are in marketing, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in robotics, talk about things you do. Talk about things you do at work. Talk about things you do outside work, right? That's how you begin to become a thought leader. So your differentiating factor on LinkedIn or on any other online platform is what values do you offer? What are your values and what value do you give to people? If I log into TCA on LinkedIn, there's so much value there for me to take in. If I log into your LinkedIn, Abdul or Oluchi or Michael, what value would I get out of your page on LinkedIn? Are you informing me? Are you educating me? What value would I get out of your LinkedIn, right? What are your values? What are your strengths? We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses. What are your strengths? My strength is I know how to create content. My strength is I know how to write. My strength is I read a lot of books. My strength is I know how to network. What are your strengths? Leverage your strengths to tell stories. And what is your unique perspective? I'll tell you my unique perspective. I'm a Nigerian kid. I grew up in Nigeria for 18 years. I moved to Canada. I was there for over a decade. Now I'm in the US. That is my unique perspective. You cannot steal that from me, right? It's different from the perspective from Abdul, right? It's different from Steve. Steve has worked across 3 continents right now, right? I, in my case, have only worked across 2 continents, but that's my unique perspective. I can only bring that. The companies I've worked in, not everyone has worked in those companies. So I bring a fresh and a different perspective. All right. So how do we create a winning personal brand? And by the way, guys, I know I'm just trying to go through this because the reason is I want to get to the end where I can take questions. So you can start leaving your questions in the chat. So how can you actually create a winning personal brand? Let's get to it. Couple of things here. I want you to start thinking about who you are. So who's Abdul? What do you want people to think about when your name is mentioned when you're not even in the room? Right? Who's Abdul? Who's Michael? Who's Oluchi? Right? Identify who you are. Identify what you want to be known for. I know who I am and what I want to be known for. If you read through my LinkedIn page right now, it will tell you a couple of things about who I am. And that's who I am when I'm not in the room and my name is mentioned. That is what people think about. Right? So identify your core strengths and your values because that is the story you will tell around you tell your brand story around those items. Define your narrative. What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for the marketing expert who knows how to target supply chain companies? Are you the automation expert? Are you the IT expert? Are you the cybersecurity expert? Define your narrative, right? Now, package all of that now into a brand statement. And this brand statement is pretty much your 30 seconds elevator pitch. If you ask me who Steve is, I can tell you word for word who Steve is. And Steve would know that, yes, that's me. Because over the last couple of years, he has intentionally built this brand that whenever he's not in the room and Steve or TCA is mentioned, people understand, people recall. But imagine you have no brand and then someone mentions Michael. Who's Michael? I don't know Michael. And for me, I have a brand, even within the company I work for, that when my name is mentioned, people think about me. Okay, within the company, what is Kelly known for? Oh, Kelly is known for being demanding. Kelly is known for driving digital transformation initiative, right? Kelly is known for growing and coaching the interns and just building up these new hires, right? What do you want to be known for within your company and outside your company? What do you want to be known for within your? Here's a trick I did a couple of years ago. I messaged, I think, four of my closest friends, and I said, guys, list your top five qualities about me. And when they all listed and sent text back to me, I noticed there's a correlation between these four guys. And for me, I'm like, I'm good. If this is what my friends think of who I am, then I'm good because this is exactly the brand I want to put out online. So if you message four of your closest friends today and say, okay, what are my top values, top five values or top five characteristics, right? And if your friends send you message or messages and you find out there's no correlation between what they're saying, you do not have a personal brand. Because if your friends cannot tell your brand, someone who's a million miles away cannot tell your brand. So I want you to take the activity. So when it comes to optimizing your presence, now you figure out what your brand is about. Now you have to optimize your presence on LinkedIn. So the first thing you need to do is your profile picture, your landing page. What does it look like? Is it a selfie? Is it a picture you took at the beach? Is it a picture you took under the table? Clean profile picture. That's what you want, right? Your headline, your elevator pitch. Who are you? Are you a project management professional? Are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Who are you? Right? What is your headline? Right? What is your value prop? Your banner, your about section. This is an area on LinkedIn where I see people struggle with because again, a lot of people don't know how to write. That's just the honest truth. I see a lot of emails when I just shake my head like, this guy doesn't know how to write. So thankfully there's AI. You can leverage AI. Right? You can leverage AI to write. Obviously, don't just go take exactly what AI is giving you. You can tell AI what it needs to write, and you can take that as your first draft and then rejig it. That is your about section. Let me tell you guys a trick here. Your about section is not your resume. Because I see a lot of people just copy your resume and paste into the about section on LinkedIn. Don't do that. Here's what you should do instead. Copy your resume, go to ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT, hey, write me a LinkedIn about section using my resume. ChatGPT will write you two, three, four paragraphs. Take that, clean it up. That's your about section. And that's your first draft for your about section. Okay. And your featured section on LinkedIn, proof, content, wins, testimonial. If you go onto Steve's LinkedIn, you would see people saying, hey, Steve, I was one of Steve's students. And, 1 year ago, 6 months ago, and I landed that role. Oh, Steve recommended me for this. Steve did this for this, right? TCA did this for me. So testimonials, content, go to events, post pictures, share stuff of what you do in the community. I do that a lot. I'm a community person. So I'm always out in the community, doing a lot of stuff in the community. And when I do that, lots of pictures. And that's why when people reach out to me like, Kelly, how do you make time for going to all of these events? I'm like, well, I'm a community-driven person. So I'm always going to find time to go for this event. Just the way I am doing right now. I want to impact people's life, and that's why I'm here. Because it's barely 8 a.m. on my time right now, and I'm out here talking to people across, people calling from Calgary, Vancouver, Moscow, when I should be sleeping right now on a Saturday morning, right? I'm a community-driven person. So that is what you want to do for yourself. So first things first, let me tell you this. In 2020, since 2024, 2025, about 90% of recruiters use LinkedIn as the platform for finding talent. Let me say that again, 90%. So which means 9 out of 10 recruiters use LinkedIn as a platform, which means if, first of all, if you're not on LinkedIn already as a corporate career person, you're doing yourself a disservice. Secondly, if you have LinkedIn and it's just sitting dormant, you're doing yourself a disservice, especially if you're looking for a job. You need to become visible for these recruiters. So they are the ones chasing you, not you chasing 10 of them. You need to be strategic. So a high quality profile picture is one of the first things you need to do for yourself. Again, you don't have to go into a studio to take a very expensive $200, $300 picture. No, our phones have 10 cameras these days. Use your phone, a well-lit place, take a nice pictures, shoulders up, show a little bit of smile on your face. You post it on LinkedIn. That is your profile picture. Your about section, I just talked about it, how you write your about section. Take your resume, leverage Gemini, ChatGPT, something, right? Your headline, who are you? Are you a project management professional? Are you a cybersecurity consultant? Are you a business professional? Who are you? Highlight your value prop under your headlines. And then keep your banner simple and clean, right? If I click on your LinkedIn profile, what does your banner tell me about you? When I look at some people's profile picture banners, I see things like Toronto skyline. It doesn't tell me much about you. It just tells me maybe you live in Toronto. That's it. Oh, I see a San Francisco skyline. It doesn't tell me much about you. It just tells me you live in San Francisco. What does your banner say about you? If you click on my LinkedIn profile, Kelly Boyi, you would see what my banner tells you about me, right? And then next step, one thing I want to highlight here is this. The moment you go through these 4 steps and you set up your LinkedIn the right way, because the first thing is, like Steve said, his friend optimized his LinkedIn and now he's been getting recruiters calling him. Make sure you have optimized your LinkedIn. But after you optimize your LinkedIn, it doesn't need to sit idle. It doesn't need to sit idle. I see Shanuka says, so I'm very active on LinkedIn, but I attract a lot of scammers. I did get a lot of calls out for jobs in my own country, but since I moved to Vancouver, my applications are viewed and I get a lot of scammers. The truth is, just like any other social platform on Instagram, on Twitter, LinkedIn, yes, there are scammers on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is it's a professional social media platform. So yes, you would experience scammers. Just the way you avoid scammers on Instagram, you have to avoid scammers on LinkedIn, period. So that's your response to your question there. You can't say, because I get scam text or no scam inquiries on LinkedIn, I'm not going to use it. Really? You get scam text on your cell phone, on Instagram, but you still use it every day. So that should not be a reason why you should not use the platform. Okay, Shanuka, that should not be the reason. Okay, so let's continue here. Create high quality authoritative content. Whatever space you're working in, whether it's education, whether it's in finance, whether it's in business, whether it's in healthcare, you need to tell stories about your industries, about your industry. Tell stories. Tell me something I don't know. Today, I'm in the clean tech space. Tell me something about healthcare I don't know, right? So I don't have to go into the news and start reading the news. Tell me something about healthcare. Engage with industry experts and influencers. That's the only way you get visibility. Engage people. How can you have LinkedIn? You post something, you have 20 comments, and you don't respond to any comments. Or how can you have LinkedIn? You follow 150 people, they are posting content, you're just reading the content and you're not engaging. That is not how the algorithm works. The algorithm works and it bumps people up on the search list for those people that are active. When I say active, it's not about opening your LinkedIn in the morning, scrolling, and then you bounce out. No, it's opening your LinkedIn, engaging people, posting, leaving a comment, engaging. That's being active. So when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm active on LinkedIn," how are you active? You open your LinkedIn, you click like, and then you bounce out. That's not being active. No, you're actually, I think you're being passive. You're not being active, right? So interact with your community. Oh, Kelly, I'm trying to become a project manager. How many project managers do you have in your community on LinkedIn? You're trying to become a project manager, but everyone you surround yourself in agriculture, you're more likely to become a farmer than a project manager or an engineer. Surround yourself with like-minded people on LinkedIn. Sometimes I go on LinkedIn, I just type search word like project manager. I see some people close to me and I follow them, engage, follow, follow, follow. And these are people I engage because, this person works for this company. That person works for this company. These are people I don't know. I follow them and I engage in their content for a couple of weeks and now they know me. That's what you need to do for yourself. Next thing I will say is be authentic, be honest. LinkedIn is not like Instagram where you can lie about your mansion, which is daddy's mansion, or post pictures with your daddy's Rolls Royce. No. On LinkedIn, if you lie on LinkedIn, a lot of people will fish you out. Just so you know, recruiters are getting smart these days. A lot of people will fish you out and be consistent. I cannot stress this enough. If you have LinkedIn and you're not consistent, and consistency doesn't mean you have to be there 24/7 or every day. Consistency means if you plan to be on LinkedIn 2 times or 3 times a week, stick to that frequency. That is consistency. Because if you are not consistent on LinkedIn, let me tell you what happens to you. You become bottom of the barrel. So when recruiters are looking for candidates that you fit the criteria, you appear at the bottom of the list. And most recruiters, they look for the top 5 people on the list, and those are the people they call. So imagine you have LinkedIn, you have the right experience, right credentials, but you're not active on the platform. A recruiter is searching for a project management expert. There's a list of 40 people that show up. They just go to the top 5 people, and those are the people they call. But you, who's more experienced, you appear at number 25. They don't care about you because you're not active, you're not visible. Again, if you're not visible on LinkedIn, if you're not active on LinkedIn, you become bottom of the barrel, and it's not a good place to be. I've been there before, and I've missed opportunities. It's not a good place to be. So let me tell you the visibility formula. This is what I use, and I want you to take a screenshot of this. This is the visibility formula. Credibility, which is who you are, the industry you work in. Clarity, how you tell stories, right?
So Kelly,
Consistency.
sorry, it's Steve. So I just wanted to, because whilst you were speaking, something popped up in my mind,
Yeah,
and I was going to put it on the side for later, but like the feeling to ask this question was really strong. Uh,
yeah.
so is it okay if I maybe interrupt and ask the
Oh,
question?
please, please. Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the major challenges that, and this is based on my experience in the past of helping folks transition into tech, one of the biggest questions they ask themselves when it comes to LinkedIn, when it comes to visibility, when it comes to posting is, but I'm not an expert. Do I have the
Hmm.
right to say anything about a topic where I don't have, donkey years experience? So someone might be thinking, oh, but Kelly, you've been in the project management space for so many years. You have a lot of expertise in this space and a lot of authority in this space. Oh, Steve, you've been here for like, all of this stuff. You've been in the industry over 15 years. So you can say stuff, you can demonstrate your thought leadership, but how
Hmm.
about me? I'm just, you know, trying to transition. I'm just new in this space. Maybe I just got into Canada, US, UK,
Hmm.
6 months ago. What do I have to say? Because I'm trying to just, this is something I've heard a lot, and I feel like, oh, I think Sonia has just confirmed what I said. So can you help us, please?
Absolutely. And Steve, yes, I get a lot of that question as well because I do a lot of coaching and people come to me like, but I'm just new. I just started. I just took my PMP. What do I have to say? And here's what I say. Focus on your story. And when I say your story is where are you coming from? Where are you right now and where you're going? I'll tell you my own story. The time I was ready to transition from engineering to project management, can you believe before I took my first what's it what? My first interview as a project manager, on LinkedIn, I was already telling people 12 months ago, hey,
Mm,
I want to become a project manager. Here are the class I took this weekend on project management, even though I'm an engineer, right? I took this class at University of Waterloo. Here's what I learned. Boom, 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 boom. Right? Oh, I went for this conference. It was project management. I was clueless, but I sat there for 2 hours. Oh, I met some amazing project managers. Here's a picture of us smiling. Boom. Right? I was already telling the story. And while I was doing that, guess what happened? When I show up at work, we do this in Canada a lot, these small talks. On a Monday morning, hey Steve, how's the weekend? Oh, I went out with my kids, we went surfing. Guess what I tell them? Oh, I spent this weekend, I took this class on project management fundamental. Oh, okay. Really? You want to become a project manager? Yeah. So I was already coaching my team members, I was coaching my boss. And when I
mm,
was ready, when I took my PMP, I took my PN, and the time was right for me to transition. I went to my boss and I said, hey, boss man, the time is here. It's time for me to transition to project management. You know what he told me? He said, Kelly, I'm not going to hold you back. There's no PM role right now within our team, but in the other division, I think there's a role for you there. And
Mm,
he called his buddy, who was the program manager, is like, hey, I got one of my guy who wants to transfer to project management. Can you at least take an interview? And I went in 2 interviews later. You know what he said in the interview? He said, I can see from your resume you are a skilled engineer, but it seems over the last 12 to 18 months, you've been doing the groundwork to become a PM. And it seems you've developed those skills, you've taken the right classes, you position yourself well. I will give you a chance. And
mm,
that was it. So I was already coaching outsiders, but also coaching insiders. Like, hey, here's where I'm going, right? So even if you don't have the skills or you don't have the title, you can still tell stories. So
mm,
again, I tell people focus on where you're coming from, right? Hey, I'm an engineer today, yesterday. Today, I am a project coordinator. Tomorrow, I want to become a project manager. And here are the things I do day to day to get me to that point. Here's the book I'm reading about it. Here's the class I took. I took the TCA class, right? And here's the conference I went to. Oh, I had this conversation with my boss about transitioning. Or I did a skill assessment and I noticed out of the top 10 skills of a PM, I have 6 of them. Here's what I'm doing to close the gap of the remaining 4. That's the story you got to tell.
mm.
So now you're not an expert, you're just telling your own story. So your own narrative. Hopefully that answers that question.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. And just to follow on with that as well, thank you so much for that response, by the way, because I'm beginning to think of a couple of things. Now, the second angle is how about, let's say, if someone spends 2 hours creating a, I'm just using 2 hours just as an example because it's their first post and all that,
Yeah,
creating a solid post, and then they put it out there online and they get
cricket.
Super cricket. So they get zero likes, zero
Yeah,
engagement, and maybe if I happen to see the post, I give it one like because
yeah.
whenever I see anybody I know that is starting out, I always engage.
Encourage them. Yeah,
Regardless of what they post, you're 100% you're getting one like from me. If
yeah.
I can give more, I'll give more, but you're getting one like from me. So how do they manage and is it normal? How do they manage that situation? Does it matter? Because I think it's really important that we talk about some of these realities.
Yeah, yeah. Here's my response to that. So I made a video a while ago, which I posted this morning, and I said most people will not be successful,
Hmm.
not because of the algorithm, not because of a toxic boss or their friend who didn't even refer them to a job. It's actually because of them themselves. And I'll tell you why. So you need to ask yourself, what is the reason? What is your goal with LinkedIn? Is it to get likes or to land those high-paying roles? You need
Hmm.
to ask yourself. And there's nothing like overnight success. Just because you started yesterday thinking you start getting the applause, the likes, the reshare, the engagement, you're kidding. It
Hmm.
takes time. Steve, see where you are today. It took you time to build that.
Hmm.
And the problem today is people are impatient. They don't want to put in the work, but they want
Yeah.
the reward.
Yeah.
So this is not a get rich scheme. If you're thinking by next week you land a job, you may get lucky, but if you're thinking that's what will happen, you're killing yourself. And I don't think you're in the right webinar. These are
Hmm.
for people who are serious and ready to put in the time. There's a lady I've been coaching recently. I knew her in Canada. This lady was the brightest person I knew. She went into maternity, had a baby, and she just lost herself. Like she struggled to get back to the industry. She's like, Kelly, how do I do that? I'm like, you have to become, this is like a senior software developer. I'm like, you need to become visible. She's like, how do I do that? I'm like, okay, when you were having your baby, what were you doing? She's like, I was taking this class, I was writing software, I was vibe coding. I'm like, but I don't see that on your LinkedIn. If I'm a hiring
Hmm.
manager, how do I know that? She's like, really? So she started posting. And then she will message me like a week later, like, Kelly, no one is engaging. I said, don't worry. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Now she's starting to get attraction. I'm like, you see, that consistent. You got to show up. So there will be days where you get crickets. Nobody will engage, no like, no reshares, but you have to show up because
Hmm.
it's that consistency people watch out for. How consistent are you, right? How consistent are you? When you do that over time, give it 60 days, 90 days, that traction start building, start building. Again, Steve, I think during our time, at least for me, There was nothing like LinkedIn influencers. You know, there was a time. There was nothing like LinkedIn
Oh yeah.
influencers, nothing.
Oh yeah.
So it took me a decade to learn. But now I'm teaching people this within 60, 90 days.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you have to put in the work. There's nothing like overnight success. That's how I would end that response.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, no, please, like, it was just burning in my mind, and I can see the reason now because quite a few people related to the question. So, no, please carry on. Please carry
So
on.
yeah, well, we're almost done here, by the way, guys. And
Okay.
we'll just get into the question. So I was looking at the visibility formula. Again, if you notice, the questions you just asked me, Steve, is pretty much this formula, right? It's
Hmm.
the clarity. How do you tell that story? The consistency, showing up every day. There are days where I would write a three-paragraph post on LinkedIn. There are days where I write just one paragraph, 2 lines, and I'll leave it. I'm like, all right, I don't go, right?
Hmm.
And that's it. But it's that consistency. There was a time when I was posting every day on LinkedIn. In 2024, I think I posted 340 something days, which is almost, technically almost every day, right? Maybe I didn't post on some weekends, right? And there were moments when if I didn't post for like 2, 3 days, people would actually message me like, Kelly, I wake up in the morning. When I get to the office, the first 10, 15 minutes, I read the news, I look at LinkedIn before I get into my work. I look for your post. I haven't seen it in 3 days. Are you okay? Are you feeling ill? I'm like, wow, okay. You're actually looking for my post? Okay, right? So you just never know who's watching. And you said something earlier, Steve, when you started this session. You said, make fans of people. Let me tell you a story. So before I left Canada, there was a company I almost joined a couple of years ago. But the way it played out was they gave me an offer. I was unhappy. I told my manager, hey, I'm underpaid. He said, and that year I just led 2 projects that came up to like $70 million, right? I said, I'm unhappy. I enjoy the work I do, but I'm underpaid based on what the market is telling me right now. He said, okay, I will bump you up. So he gave me a bump up, I think maybe like 7%. I'm like, which is higher than the regular 3 to 5% you get. I'm like, not significant. You see what I just did? $70 million? Dollars? Come on, guys, right? So I got an offer from across the street, right? So there's a company across the street. The person that actually started that company came from this company. So for decades, they've had this beef. So a lot of people move between these two companies, right? And I think the company just got acquired by Essential, by the way. Um, and I got the offer in hand. I told my manager, I'm like, I'm leaving. He said, okay, show me the offer. So I showed him the offer. He had to run it off the flagpole. So he went to his level above him. I think they bumped it up to, I believe it was 11%. I said it's not enough. It went back to the next level. And that year, I walked away with 18% bump because I had to advocate for myself. But
Yeah.
when I was interviewing at the other company, let me tell you what happened. When I walked into the meeting, the two people I met, the hiring manager, the recruiter, I knew them from LinkedIn. We're just in there. They were fans already. So I sat there.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about LinkedIn. We're like, okay, so why do you want to move, Kelly? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, guys, here's why I want to leave. Period. Right?
Mhm.
And even before we even got to the period where you start talking about salary, we're already discussing salary on LinkedIn. Like, okay, what's the budget? Blah, blah, blah. People were already messaging me from the company like, wow, they are fans of you out here. They would love to have you. That
Yeah.
is what visibility does for you. You
Mm.
engage these hiring managers, not just engaging them saying, hey, I want a job, just engage them. Engage. Over
Yeah.
time, they see
Yeah.
you and they become fans of you. And now you are the talent to get.
Yep.
So again, visibility. So when you were telling that story, I'm like, I've experienced this and it's a great feeling.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
So let's try to wrap up here. So posting on LinkedIn. So there's a trick I use here, which is also used in the marketing space. It's called AIDA. What it means is A is attention. Whatever you're posting needs to grab the attention of your audience. So you need to ask yourself, who's your audience? Are they new graduates? Are they executives? Are they business owners? Are they brands? Right? Are they CEOs? Who is your audience, your target audience? Are you just recruiters? Right? I stands for interest. In whatever you post, is it of interest to these people? Right? What are you talking about? Are you talking about AI, how AI is going to disrupt your industry, or how AI is amplifying your industry? I work in a space right now in the clean tech space, well, green energy space now, where the product we put out there, Steve, this is something I never thought would happen. But I think when I look at my career, I've always worked on the cutting edge of technology. It was
Mm.
robotics and automation. I did a lot of like EV battery projects. Then I moved into electrolyzer. It looked like that space was going to take off because there was a lot of money, government money. but then the government money dried up. That industry went crashing. But then I moved into the AI space now because I knew that industry is just it's a rocket ship, literally,
Oh, yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
now I'm going to meetings talking with some of the biggest companies you can think of, right? Name them, mention them. Yes, I've sat in meetings with these guys and talked to them. But that is how I've intentionally positioned myself in the market, right?
Mm,
The next thing I would say is desire. And then the last one is action. Ask people, hey, I did this. Here's the result. If you do this, tell me your result. Action, right? So sometimes on my post, you would see I'm asking people to take an action. Other times, I think I'm at a point where I don't typically ask people anymore. But I think once you're starting out, I would say add an action, a call to action on your post. Okay. And if you can master this framework, right? Over time, you become something called a thought leader. People start seeing you as the expert. People start coming to you. Now, people come to me and ask me AI related question. I had a guy from NVIDIA reach out to me. He's also Canadian, grew up in Toronto, but I think he started a company, was a professor. It was bought out by NVIDIA. So he's out here in the Bay Area. He wants to meet with me. Since last year, he's like, Kelly, let's have lunch. Let's do this. Let's do that. You know what he wants to talk about? Again, NVIDIA makes the chips, right?
yeah.
The GPUs. He wants to understand some of the projects I work on, how they tie together.
Mm,
But I'm like, you got to go through the channels. I can't divulge, company information to you. So you got to go through these channels, right? So you
mhm.
become a thought leader. So I'll show you samples of some of the posts I created on LinkedIn, and you can see the impressions I've had, right? These are crazy impressions. I think my best impression on LinkedIn right now has done 5.3 million. That's just a post. And guess what? All I was writing about was bye bye Canada. That was the post I wrote when I left Canada. And that post did 5.3 million. I wrote another post one day. It was supposed to be an April Fool's piece, a satire post. It did almost 2.5 million, right? So these are posts I've written. These are my posts that I've written on LinkedIn that I've taken off. And okay, let's look at some of the titles here, Steve. Look at this one. I wrote, Get Off LinkedIn. That's the title. Get Off LinkedIn. Did over 400K, right? I wrote piece about uh, I wonder why no one built this. There's a software I coded the other day. I was like, oh, why no one built this? That took
Yeah,
off as well, right?
I remember that one.
So
Yeah.
so again, if you notice, I'm not even writing about, hey, I'm a project manager, right? Here's how you manage a project, right? I'm not trying to sound robotic. So these are the things you can write on LinkedIn. We're at a point on LinkedIn where LinkedIn has grown. It's no longer an infant. It's grown to a point where you can tell more stories outside the corporate sphere and you're okay. So
Mm,
sometimes people focus too much on here's what I do on my day to day every day. I'm like, yes, tell those stories, but tell stories of what you do outside. What did you
mm,
travel to for vacation? Tell us what you did in the community last weekend, right?
mm,
Those are the kind of things people want to hear now because now they find you more relatable. You're no
mm,
longer this corporate robot.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so what to post on LinkedIn? I think I pretty much captured some of this, right? I'm just going to highlight them again. Identify your core audience. Content is the new resume, period. Content is your new resume, right? Tell stories, not just fact. You know why you should tell stories, Steve? Because I can go on Google and ChatGPT and ask about facts. Don't tell me facts. Tell me stories that I can read and I'll feel good about, right?
Mhm.
Focus on areas like this, lessons learned. What did you learn from this section we just had with Steve? Focus on industry insight. Talk about the new trends in your industry. What are you seeing? I wrote a piece about what I'm noticing in the US market where they keep saying the US market is growing, is growing. I did a deep dive into the numbers. I find out the only reason why the US market is growing by 2% each year is because of AI. So if you're smart and you're trying to break into the US job market, focus on AI or AI related companies because those are the people that are hiring, those are the people that are spending billions of dollars. And by the way, last week or 2 weeks ago, I think Amazon just came out. They are doubling their spend on AI this year. So I think they put away maybe like 80 billion. They said no, we'll double that number this year. So there's money. So focus on that. So yes, I know everyone is trying to get into the open AI, the Googles. Why don't you also focus on those AI related companies,
Mm,
right? Those because I tell it like this. I think in the 60s or 70s, when there was the gold rush in California, people rushed out here to come dig for gold. Some people found gold, some people didn't, right? Because gold dried up. But do you know the people that made more money? The people that sold the wheelbarrows, the shovels, the pickaxes. So focus on those companies, companies that are selling HVAC, companies that are selling cooling equipment, companies that are selling GPUs. Those ones are hiring right now. They have money and you can demand what you want. So that's what you need to focus on, right? Behind the scenes, tell us how human you are. Like I said, the stories outside the corporate walls. We want to hear those stories as well, right? Tell us about your wins and your failures. I write about what maybe I think you've noticed this on LinkedIn. I write about wins and failures a lot on LinkedIn because that's what life is. And I can tell you, you learn more from failures than winning. Winning doesn't really teach you much, but failures on the other hand, when you fail, you're like, okay, shit. Okay, I know why I failed, but I learned from it, right?
Mhm.
So this is my storytelling framework that I use every day, right? I start with a hook, the first two lines on LinkedIn. Hook. What are you trying to hook us? Like the other day, I wrote a piece. I said, fall in love with the F word. In the corporate space, people don't like to use the F word. They look at you like, why are you using the F word? But I said, fall in love with the F word. So that got people to click on, okay, what's Kelly talking about? But the F word I was talking about was failure, not the other F word you're thinking about, right?
Mhm.
So fall in love with the F word, that's a hook, right? Get off LinkedIn, that's a hook, right? I talk about my struggle, right? I talk about my breakthrough and the lessons learned. Okay. Um, I'll say take a picture of this. This is my playbook. I tell people a lot of people cannot compete with me on LinkedIn because sometimes I'm over the top. But this is the playbook I use every week. I do 3 to 5 posts a week. Most of my posts, I'm either a contrarian, share my sense of humor, or I'm a storyteller. That's what I do on LinkedIn, right? So I post educative content, inspirational content. I post this personal story, success slash failure, right? And then I engage my audience, my community. And one other trick, I think this is something me and you talk about, Steve, recently, where how do you prevent or keep yourself from getting burnt out from creating content on LinkedIn? And I said it's called bulk creating. And right now on LinkedIn, sometimes stuff I will post next week, I've already written them last week and I already scheduled them. So I don't have to think about it. I use my brain power for other stuff. So bulk creating. Okay. Things to avoid posting on LinkedIn. I would say you can post anything on LinkedIn, but I would say avoid spamming on LinkedIn, avoid over promoting. I think once you promote something once, twice, that's okay. Once you start promoting 5, 6, 7 times, I think now you're doing too much, right? I would say don't discuss topics you're not aware of. Things like abortion, the Ukraine Israel war. I know nothing about those. You won't find me talking about them, right? Alcohol. Avoid posting too many selfies. Post selfies with people, but try not to post too much selfies because selfies are for Instagram, not LinkedIn, right? Try not to
Mhm.
post controversial stuff. Just try not to post controversial stuff. I know people post about controversial stuff. I'm just like, I've seen people got dinged on LinkedIn because they post controversial stuff, right? So be careful there. Here are some tools I use to help me write on LinkedIn. Personally, my topmost tool I use would be Canva. This deck you're looking at right now, I use Canva to create it, and then ChatGPT. So let's say I come up with an idea. If I have the time to write, I'll write it out. If I don't have the time to write, I'll just dictate to ChatGPT like, hey, I want to write this. ChatGPT just goes in 3 seconds. It gives me a framework. It gives me 3 paragraphs. I take it, I move things around, I get rid of stuff. I'm like, okay, this is good enough to go out. Boom. Leverage tools to get you ahead, right? Excuse me. But there's a couple of them out here. I'm just trying to get to the end here. And then networking. So some people say networking on LinkedIn is hard. I'm like, why? It's like, well, I have to cold message people, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'll tell you my strategy. Here's why you need to network. You need to understand why you need to network. The first thing is this: access to opportunities, right? You talked about how you network your way into getting an opportunity with University of Toronto and BFN, right? Knowledge to insights. If you don't have the right network, Steve, if let's say we don't have a good relationship, some of those information I share with you about company, you wouldn't have invested, right? So have the
Mhm.
right access to information through your network. And then just for emotional and social support, right? That is what I would recommend you to do. But and you can take a picture of this. I want people to take a picture of this. This is my 9 habits of effective networking. I'm just going to read 1, 2 of them. One of them is this: forget spray and pray connection requests on LinkedIn. All those ones where you just like Random people, random people, random people. No, no. Be strategic. The question is, I'm trying to become a project manager. The kind of people you need to be networking with should be senior project managers, project managers, project directors, right? PMO officers. Those are the kind of people you need to start connecting with. Connect with people you have shared mutual interest in. Because if you cannot relate to people you have shared mutual interest in, let's say you work in the same company, you went to the same school, you live in the same city, you work in the same industry, it's going to be hard for you to connect with someone who's 10,000 miles away, right? Attend events. In-person events, online events is important. I see there's about 70 people on this call. These are 70 people you have a shared mutual interest with right now. You're all trying to learn LinkedIn. So find them, follow them, engage them, right? And one other thing I'll say here is this. Online is a good place to start on your networking, but make sure you take your networking and your conversation, your relationship offline. You have to do that. So find them online, but make sure you take it offline. Here's what I would say as well. Um, Within the community you operate in, make sure you're giving more value out than the one you're taking in. It's important. Don't just become a networker, become a connector. Connect people, right? And I'll say be proactive, be consistent. And then one last thing I'll say here is LinkedIn is a social platform. Just like any other social platform like Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, you know that feeling you get when you're on those platforms, that happy feeling, just like the same feeling you get from food, social interaction, sex, you get that same feeling from LinkedIn. So I would say, don't forget to unplug from LinkedIn. Take breaks. It's okay, right? You don't have to be there 24/7 and become addicted. So here's a quick profile checklist for you. You can take a picture of this. I want you to take a look at this, compare your LinkedIn profiles. Okay, do I have all of this on my LinkedIn? Because this is the way recruiters look for you on LinkedIn. If you don't have this set up already on LinkedIn, you have to go back to your LinkedIn and do that. So I would recommend, please take some time, take a picture of this, compare your LinkedIn, and that's a checklist. So just wrapping up here, Steve, I like to wrap up any of my session with some career changing skills that has helped me. And I'm just going to read through them quickly and we'll start taking questions. The first one here is this
Sorry,
self-awareness.
sorry, Kelly. Can I just say one thing before
Yeah,
we carry on? So like I'm making, I'll just show you my notepad, right? So again, for those that think they're just the only ones gaining, like I'm making notes as well, because we're growing our LinkedIn and there's a whole lot that you've said that we can literally just, leverage straight away. But I know that we're actually getting close to half 11, which is our planned time to end the
so let's
conversation.
just switch into questions then. Let's just
No,
take
no, no,
questions.
no, no, no. I was going to ask because again, when you're working with um, ambitious people that are proactive and
Yeah,
hungry, they don't mind making adjustments. So I just didn't want to
yeah.
make the assumption that everybody was okay with us going a little bit beyond the finish time. So
Mhm.
just wanted to ask and get like the permission for us to go a little bit beyond. So is it okay for us to take a little bit more time than we planned? Maybe extend the session a little bit more. You can just put yes in the chat if it's okay, and then we'll carry on. Okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So I just wanted to get the permission to go a little bit longer. So Kelly, I'm making
Let's
notes.
let's wrap
So
up here. Yeah, yeah.
let's
Let's wrap
do
up.
it. Um,
And I
go
apologize,
ahead.
guys. I get very passionate when it comes to trying to educate people. But we'll wrap it up here. Just a couple of slides with stuff you can read on the screen. But personally, these are career skills that have helped me climb up the ladder, and I want people to be aware of it. The first one is self-awareness. You need to understand your skills, your strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, your working style, all of this. Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? What are your strengths? What are your skills? What are the gaps? Understand who you are. And maybe, Steve, you agree with me. Most professionals are unaware of who they are. If you ask them, who are you? Tell me a little bit about you. Sometimes they struggle. So if you don't understand who you are, how do you understand where you need to go?
Mm,
Right? So self-aware. Self-advocacy. I told you how I walked away with 18% increase in a year, where most people in my team got 3 to 5%. So if you don't advocate for yourself, what I noticed in corporate Canada/corporate America, you can walk into your team, you find out that Oh, that person got $15,000 raise, but you only got 3,000. You're like, how did that happen? Right?
Mm.
Because that person walked into the meeting, they said, hey, you're getting 3,000. They said, no way. Right? They said, absolutely no way. And they advocated for themselves. So you have to do that for yourself as well. Self advocacy. It means it's your ability to communicate your needs, your priorities, and your interests effectively with people around you. The next one here is labor market awareness. I told the story of how I went into the electrolyzer space because it was booming. I saw the numbers, but that market started going down the drain. And the moment, the moment I started seeing the numbers going down the drain, guess what I did? I took off. I'm like, okay, I got to get out of this industry as soon as I can, right? And the moment I left 6 months later, I was told they closed down the office in Toronto. I'm like, guys, I saw it before. I'm a numbers guy. That's just me. I'm a numbers guy, right? And another of my colleague from my days in robotics and automation messaged me and said, Kelly, I'm not gonna lie to you. The automation space right now is very hard. I'm like, why? He said, AI is taking everything. AI is eating our lunch. That's where all the money is going to. So nothing in automation, right? This is someone who's, I think, over like 20 years experience struggling. I'm like, holy smokes, right? So I'm a numbers guy. Look at your labor market, look at information, look at trends, and ask yourself, is this market going up or is it going down? Because if you're trying to break into a market that is going down the drain, in 6 months, you'll be going down the drain with it,
Mm.
right? So labor market awareness. Another one is curiosity. Just be curious. Be curious about people. Be curious about trends. Be curious about your environment. Steve, you asked me a question the other day. You said, how do you come up with inspiration to write? And I said, I'm just curious. I read books. From this conversation we're having right now, there's a lot of ideas I'm going to write about it on LinkedIn. So what people say, the podcast I listen to, when I'm driving on the street, I see a sign, I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to write about that. So just be
Mm.
curious about people. Be curious about your environment, your surrounding, right? It's very important. Someone said they're from Moscow. I never expected someone was going to log in from Moscow. That's a piece you have to write about. Like, wow, someone from Moscow, right? Is here. One of your webinars. That's what you need to write about. Um,
And maybe,
adaptability.
sorry, just one thing that for anybody struggling with what to write about, you can just write about today's webinar.
Literally, take a
Like,
picture and write about it.
take a picture, write about it, tag Kelly, tag myself. If you're worried about likes, I promise you, you'll get one like from me, one like from Kelly. So,
Absolutely.
so that's for sure. And again, it could be just one thing that you took away from today's session. Just write about it, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like William Shakespeare. Like just it's your story. It's just write. It could be a paragraph, it could be two lines, it could be anything, like there's so much content to write about.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you, Steve. And I think the next item here is adaptability. Sometimes we get caught up where, oh, I went to school for engineering. I have to become a mechanical engineer. My background is in mechatronics. And then, yes, I worked in that space as an engineer, but today I'm a project manager in a totally different space. So sometimes what we went to school for could be something else. So here's what I would say. Someone said, can I please go back to the previous slide? Curiosity. I was talking about curiosity. Um, it's just your interest, inquisitiveness on your environment, on people, right? um, Adaptability, your ability to change. You look at the market, you say, oh, okay, today I'm a business development rep, but the market is not good. What else can I do? What can I do with this, my transferable skills? You need to be able to adapt, change. Oh, I'm an introvert. I don't like online. You have to adapt. The world is becoming more digital today. You have to become more digital. Oh, here's what I did actually. How come I haven't thought about this? 2 weeks ago, I went online. I saw a post. Someone said on LinkedIn. Sorry, on Instagram. They Google themselves. They don't have a website. They Google themselves. Guess what? Because AI now, Google Gemini has a way of crawling the internet and summarizing who you are now. So I said, oh, I'm just going to go Google who Kelly Boyi is. I Googled myself, and boom, with few seconds, Gemini summarized who I was. What do you think recruiters are doing today, Steve? They just Google you.
They'll Google you, yeah.
They just Google you, and Gemini just summarizes who you are. But here's the problem. Imagine now you bear a common name, James Smith. How do you differentiate yourself from the other 10 James Smith? If you
Mm.
Google me, I guarantee you there's no other Kelly Boy on this planet Earth because I found a way to differentiate myself. I think you should ask your audience to Google themselves today. Google yourself and see what comes up. You'll be shocked. And that's why your digital footprint matters. So if
Mm.
you are one of those people who is an introvert, oh, I don't like online, oh, I don't do this, you have to adapt because we are in a digital age. Confidence. I think, Steve, you posted about this the other day. I've been in
Yep.
rooms where the less qualified candidate got the job. You know why? Because the less qualified candidate walks into that place, understanding here is their capability, but they were so confident, they believed in their own abilities and skills, and they got the job. But then the
Mhm.
more qualified candidate showed up very sheepishly, very timid. And everyone's like, no, no, you're qualified, but we don't need these kind of people walking around us. We want someone who's confident on their abilities. So I want you on this call, guys, you have to be to curate the ability to trust your own judgment, your capabilities, and your skills. That is how you value yourself. So
Mm.
confidence, right? And wrap up here with some inspirational speeches here. Your LinkedIn profile is your canvas. It's not just a resume. Paint it with your achievements, your experiences, and with a bit of creativity. All right. And guys, yeah, you can screenshot this. You can take a picture of this because I am not going to share this slide because it's proprietary. So but you can take a picture of it. You are the number one expert of your own story. You have a story
Mm.
to share. Find ways of sharing it and be creative while at it. Okay. Your LinkedIn profile is more than just a resume. It's a stage. Stop hiding backstage and step into the spotlight. Right? If you don't live with anything today, please live with this one. Think globally, act locally. Today, while you're in Vancouver, you think you're just competing with people in Vancouver. No, you're competing with people in India, people in Moscow, people in Nigeria. So think globally, act locally. So act from your house, but think globally, right? That is the only way I've been able to move from Nigeria to Canada, from Canada to the US. Think globally. Sometimes you have to stop being scared and just go for it. It's either going to work out or it won't. That is life as a journey. Okay. So I'm just going to wrap up there. At the end of the day, Steve, let me ask you a question. Do you believe knowledge is power?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you the question. Do you believe knowledge is power?
Knowledge is not enough.
Okay. That's a good, it was a tricky question because too
Yeah.
many times I hear people say, oh, knowledge is power. I'm like, not really. But
Yeah.
applied knowledge is power. We've
Yeah.
touched on a number of areas on how to leverage digital tools like LinkedIn, how to position yourself in the market where you become the magnet as opposed to you chasing, right?
Mm.
And how to become strategic in building your personal brand. At the end of the day, a lot of people here can end this session, go back, sit on the couch and watch Netflix, or they can actually apply one or two of them and they would stand out and become the golden boy who's
Mm.
here, standing out from the crowd. So with that, that's my session. Let's take some questions.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Kelly. Wow, like my notepad is full. Just so many pointers, so many reminders, so many like it was a refresher, and I can tell you categorically my LinkedIn fire has doubled by the end of this session. So thank you so much for that. And I feel like the energy from this call is different from the one-on-one that we have because this is a lot more in depth. I know we just get 15 minutes here, 5 minutes there, very specific questions and conversations. So thank you so, so much. What I'm going to do is we have a few questions, and I want us to maybe take one or two, get through the remaining part of the presentation, and then we'll kind of spend some time going through the rest because there are a few things that we still need to cover. And then we'll just come back and do like a full-blown Q&A. Okay, so let's start with we're going like back a couple of slides. I think the last question you took was the one around the scammers. And again, maybe I can even just add one line to that. So with regards to scammers, you can't do anything about scammers. Like they come in through your email, they come on Instagram, they're everywhere, WhatsApp. Um, so you can't do anything. You just have to ignore them. When the right opportunity comes, it's obvious, right? By the time you look at the person's profile, you'll see a full-blown profile, and then you'll be able to engage with them. I think Mavis added that we can also optimize because this is really important. Um, Gone are the days when you just have to be dependent on a professional headshot. You can actually use AI to generate a professional headshot. Give AI a regular picture, it gives you like a professional headshot back. Just make sure it looks as close to you as possible. Okay, so there was a question from Isaac, and maybe Kelly, I'll read this out and then you can respond to this. So, out of curiosity, I want to ask this. I recently graduated and my field is kind of broad. Even though I know the area I want to get into, I'm not sure if optimizing my LinkedIn will make recruiters think I'm specializing in only one specific area. I
Mhm.
do have a response to this, but maybe I'll let you go first, Kelly, and then I can add to it.
Yeah, so I think as a new graduate, I told the story of how I leveraged LinkedIn within 3 months of landing in Canada. Again, I came as an international student. And while I was a student, I was, like I said, popping up here and there once in a while. What I would say to you is this, especially as you're starting from school, unfortunately, you shouldn't specialize. That's what I would say. Try to become more of a generalist as opposed to specialist, right? Today, I call myself a generalist actually because I think generalists can easily adapt, pivot, and move around. So that's what you need to do for yourself. So what you need to do is, I would say, think of maybe 3 spaces or 3 swim lanes that you think you have the right skills, the right ability, the right talent. I would say try to mold your LinkedIn around that. So let's say you went in for mechanical engineering. Let me just say that. So under mechanical engineering, you can work as an industrial engineer, you can work as a manufacturing engineer. You can work as an applications engineer. You can also work as a mechanical designer. So these are places you can position yourself. So when recruiters see you, they know you're a graduate. So they wouldn't expect you to become an expert when you just graduated. So that's my recommendation. Try to become more of a generalist, but also not just too broad, where it's like, oh, I can work in 10 different spaces. No, maybe pick 3, 4 spaces and narrow it down to those spaces.
Spot on. And I think one thing you have to think of is if I'm a recruiter and I'm looking for a project manager and I see your profile, what does that say to me?
Mhm.
Right? It's important that you put yourself in that recruiter's shoes and then look at your profile from that lens. Are you representing what you want them to see? Because if not, then you have to optimize your profile. So Kelly is spot on. Like you need to narrow it down. It can't just be I'm open to everything. You just need to narrow it down so they see what you want them to see. The next one is from Hima. For recruiters, how do you ask, and I like this question, how do you ask for a coffee chat when most don't reply?
Oh, that's a great question. So when you say coffee chat, think about this. When people reach out to me on LinkedIn, say, "Hey, Kelly, can you refer me?" Unfortunately, I'm one of those people where I'm a little bit apprehensive. I don't refer anyone because I'm at a point in my career where if I'm putting a name down, it comes with a weight. So if I
Hmm.
actually don't know you, know your value prop, the answer is no. And sometimes people think I'm just, oh, Kelly is ungrateful, doesn't want to help people. No, I actually help a lot more people than you think. But I would say this, like I said, find ways to engage people beforehand. If all you're looking to do on LinkedIn is to just message people to find jobs, it's not going to work.
Mm.
You need to start networking before you need a job. That's what I tell people. Start networking before you need a job. Not because you need a job next week. You start messaging me like, hey, Kelly, refer me. No. Who are you? Have I seen you around on LinkedIn maybe 2, 3 months? Okay, I've seen your face. I see you engaging with stuff. I mean, let's say we've had some conversations online as well. That is the best way you get people to respond to you. But if you just show up out of the blue, hey, Jane, can we have a coffee chat? Who are you? You need to think strategically, guys. Come on, right? Think. That's my response, right? It may not be the response they're looking for, but that is the way to do it.
But again, I think you're absolutely right, Kelly. When just for a second, put yourself in that recruiter's shoes because most times I try to remind people these recruiters are human beings. If you put yourself in their shoes, they have a position and they have multiple people reaching out to them. it only makes sense for you to attend to folks that you have a bit of a relationship with or like a bit of a warm interaction with. And this is where the whole concept of commenting, engaging with their content, yes, they see you, they look at your profile. They may not see anything at that point, but they are aware that you exist, right? And then when you now ask for the coffee chat, it becomes an easier conversation as opposed to just someone out of the blue. And again, I think someone spoke about scammers. Like, how will they know that it's not a scammer just asking for a coffee chat, right? So you have to warm up that interaction. And I think once you put yourself in the recruiter's shoes in a second, like you'll really the whole conversation changes once you put yourself in the recruiter's shoes. Okay, so we're going to take, there are other questions coming through, and
Problem.
our promise is that we're going to answer every question, but we're going to take the next question and then we'll get through with the presentation and then we'll go through the rest of the questions. So this is from B. Thank you so much for the webinar. This is regarding what you said at the start, Kelly. What is your budget for this role? So at an interview, when the salary question comes up and the manager says that they don't want to share that information when you ask them, and they turn the question around and ask, what salary range do you expect?
Do you expect? Yeah. So there are two things. I would say the earlier in my career, when I was still new, like I said, when I had no online footprint, I had no brand. Unfortunately, they had to, I had to tell them the range I'm looking for. But as you start growing and start building your brand, they're the ones coming to you now, right? Not you chasing them. Because if you're the one chasing them, it's easy for them to say, what are you looking for? Right?
Hmm.
But again, Jane, you messaged me for this role. And based on where I am in my career right now and my personal brand, I can ask you that question. And most times I can tell you 8 out of 10 times they share that number with me. And I tell them immediately, I'm like, I don't want to waste your time. If you don't want to call or anything, I value your time. And I don't want to waste it. Let me know. So typically, that isn't the first question. I said it's one of the first two questions I ask. So typically I would ask three questions. One of the first one is this remote? Is this hybrid? Or because now remote is technically going away. Let's be honest, guys. Remote is going around. Get used to it. So I typically ask, is this remote or full-time in the office? Two, what is the budget for the role? Third, when do you need me to start? Those three questions. The response to it, hybrid, the range is 200K to this. Need me to start in 30 days, in 90 days. Boom. So you need to get to that point where if they don't see enough value in you or think you are high enough, they're just gonna like, no, you tell us your number. Because you need
Hmm.
to understand that as a recruiter, I have a target as well. And the more I fall below that target, right, the better for me as a recruiter. So even if when they tell me the range is 200 to 250, I know there's extra 50K they're keeping in pocket.
Hmm.
So that is what I do. Again, you need to build a brand that allows you to do that. If you don't have a brand, guys, you are in no place to ask that question.
Hmm.
Okay?
And even if you ask the question, you may not get the response. This is where they can push back. But once you have the brand, you're not asking the question out of desperation. It's like, look, if you need me, then tell me, give me this information.
Give
So
me the, yeah.
we don't go through the whole process and then get to the last stage only to realize that the pay does not work for
I
me.
wasted my time. I'm just like, come
Exactly.
on.
And they've wasted their time as well. So it's an incredibly empowering place to be in, by the way, just so you know. Because there's some opportunities that come my way. I don't even respond because I know there's no hope. Like it's just no, don't worry yourself. Just you're good. And then there's some opportunities that will be so exciting. I'll be like, okay, like tell me more, right?
Hmm.
Because again, it could be like a quick in and out type consulting opportunity. And yeah, we go help the company out. So makes so much sense. But you need to position, and this is where today's conversation comes in, right? Because it's not just about, oh, I need to go post on LinkedIn. No, like I need to reposition myself. I need to take this LinkedIn job seekers LinkedIn playbook and reposition myself. So when they jump into Google search for me, they see a magnetic profile. when they jump into LinkedIn search for me, what they see will tell them this is the man or this is the woman for this job. Okay. Okay, cool. There are more questions, and thank you so much, Kelly, for promising to answer these questions. So I'll just quickly go through the rest of the presentation because I'm conscious that we still have a few more slides to get through, especially for those that have reached out to say through personal message to ask, okay, but Steve, like I would like us to work together. What does that look like? You spoke about the program that you offer as the Career Accelerators. You spoke about the program that Kelly did a while ago. Like, what does that look like in terms of working together? So I'll quickly go through that just so everybody understands fully what we do, how we can help, and then we'll transition back to Kelly's questions, to the questions that have been posed to Kelly. And by the way, I can see quite a few TCA students in attendance, which is excellent because originally this session was meant to be an internal session just for our students, because what we aim to do is to give them an edge, right? We don't want them to be part of the noise out there. We want them to be that unique voice out there. But we just thought, why not just open it up and everybody can attend and get incredible value, which is why we have everybody on this call. So one thing I want us to reflect on for a second is there was something Kelly said towards the end. Is knowledge enough? Because I understand and I know it's not enough, my response was no, knowledge is not enough, because knowledge is one thing, but there is the action part, right? If you know it all and you don't do what you need to do, or you don't do what you know you need to do, then it doesn't, you won't get the results associated with it. So what I want you to think about right now is um, if only you can build the knowledge, right? If only you can develop the skills, if only you can gain the experience, you will be in a position to repackage yourself, secure an incredible job. Because again, um, it's not just about posting on LinkedIn. Ultimately, you want to stand out. You want to get paid. You want to position yourself as an expert in whatever field, whether it's project management, business analysis, or any other field. For us specifically at TCA, we focus on tech roles. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. But ultimately, if you can position yourselves, you will secure incredible opportunities out there. I would say this, and Kelly mentioned this, the opportunities are still there. The problem is that sometimes people are looking in the wrong place, right? People are approaching today's market, 2026, like it's 2016. Of course, things have changed. Times have changed. In terms of opportunities, they're still there, but you need to reorganize your strategy. You need to change your strategy. There was a time when you don't need to have a LinkedIn profile to get a job. I can tell you categorically. There was a time when the recruiter picks up your resume, they don't care about LinkedIn. It's just what you have on your resume, and they're having those conversations with you. But today, before they even reach out to you, okay, who is this person? I like the resume, but who is this person? And all it takes is a quick 30-second search. Your profile pops up, they make the decision instantly. Do I want to continue with this person or not? Okay, so I want us to bear that in mind as we go into the next couple of slides. So this is where, again, I always like to ask for permission before we go down a particular path. So there are two options at this point. One is, if I know folks have reached out to me through personal message to ask, okay, what would it look like to work with TCA? But I just wanted to make it open. So for anybody interested, I'd like to see you put yes in the comment section. So would you like to know what we're all about? Would you like to know what it means to work with us? Would you like to know what we offer as an organization? Because today's session is just one of the numerous services that we offer to our students, but also we offer to folks that are looking to transition their career. So anybody that is really ambitious, wants to get to the next level, and sometimes people hear of securing a fantastic six-figure job and they think this is an illusion, this is beyond my reach, but they forget one very important thing. There is nothing beyond your reach. You just heard Kelly say At some point, he had, he was looking to get 1,500 followers. Now he has 32,000. And I look up to Kelly when it comes to LinkedIn because 32,000 compared to what I have, like night and day, right? So this is where we all need to recognize that sometimes you have to learn from people that have gone ahead of you. Sometimes you have to follow, and I always say this, for those that are Nigerian, you will understand what I'm about to say. Follow who know road. So basically, just follow the person that knows the way. Follow the tour guide. Follow someone that has gone through what you're about to go through. Follow somebody that understands the pitfalls. Because the biggest challenge I see is sometimes people start this journey by themselves and they get stuck or they give up halfway through without recognizing that some of those hurdles are part of the process. So, if you'd like to work with us, can you put in the chat so I can quickly go through what it would mean, and then we'll go back to the questions um, with Kelly. Okay, I can see a couple of yeses. Um, okay, so one thing I'd like to promise everybody is that we will definitely go through the questions. Kelly has promised us that we'll go through the questions. So if you ask the question, then please hang around so we can go through the questions and you get your answer. And again, if you need to speak, we can invite you up as well. Take you off mute so you can ask your question verbally and get your response verbally as well. Okay, so quickly about the Career Accelerators. So we provide aspiring IT professionals with the knowledge, skills, and experience required to secure highly lucrative roles in the ever-evolving world of tech. So before it used to be just core tech, but now everything is AI infused. So most of our programs they now have an AI element or an AI component to it, because if you're not learning how to maximize AI, you're not positioning yourself for the future. So we have all our programs with the AI infusion. Now, I'm sure folks are wondering, okay, so what does that entail? What are the components of your program? I'm going to go through them quickly just so everybody understands what you get when you sign up for one of our programs. So there are different features, and each of these features are extremely value as standalone items, but you get them as a package. The first one is the core training. So whatever path you're in, or whatever path you're interested in, whether it's project management, whether it's business analysis, whether it's cybersecurity, data analysis, whether you want to become a scrum master, this is where you get the foundational knowledge of what it means to become a project manager, business analyst, a scrum master, whatever the role is, a data analyst, etc. So you get the foundational fundamental knowledge, because without this, then there's nothing, right? You can't build on sand. You have to build on a solid rock. And this is where the core training comes in. Now, because our goal is not just to train folks, because again, everybody can get this on YouTube. There are lots of materials on YouTube. But where we differentiate ourselves is when it comes to practical hands-on experience. When it comes to learning the trade, there's a difference between knowing what to do and having experience of doing that thing. And this is where our hands-on experience component comes in. So this is where you get work experience. For those on the call, they are actually working on a live project right now, and every single cohort has a live project that they work on. So this is where you get to work as a business analyst, as a project manager, as a data analyst on a live project. And this is a project that you can go into an interview and talk about your contribution, talk about how you delivered, incredible, deliverables, incredible platforms. Some of the platforms we built are still live today. We built a platform called Job Ready, which is an interview coaching platform. If you go to jobready.io, you'll see it. It's still live. It was built by TCA alumni. Okay, this is the sort of experience you get. And you go for an interview, you're not just speaking theory, you're actually pointing them to what you built. You're actually pointing them to the sites that you built. And that is what makes our program unique. Okay, so this is the sort of experience you get. And when it's time for referencing, we'll provide you with reference because you did the work with us. So we'll provide you with work reference to show and justify that you did the work with us. In addition to that, you also get one-on-one mentorship. This is where we pair you with an expert in your industry so they can handhold you and guide you through the process. You also get your resume completely optimized, because one thing is having the knowledge, another thing is being able to position the knowledge in such a way that a recruiter sees your resume and instantly they know that you're the person that they're looking for. So we will help you optimize your resume. Most organizations will, give you a resume template and say, go figure it out yourself. But we recognize that that is not the best way to help our students succeed, which is why we take on that responsibility and we do it for you and explain it to you. Okay. Now, with the optimized resume, you can also go optimize your LinkedIn profile. But then you start getting lots of attention. So we'll spend the time with you to prepare you for that interview. So we'll coach you through the interview, help you understand what the recruiters expect, what the hiring manager expect, because you don't want to go into an interview and you're wondering, oh, like, how do I prepare? What do I prepare for? Which questions are they going to ask me? We'll help you prepare for that interview. We'll conduct a mock interview with you. And then last but not the least, this is something that we introduced, again, to give our students that edge. And it's a technical recruiter assessment. This is where we have an in-house technical recruiter that would evaluate your profile from a recruiter's perspective. So they're looking at your LinkedIn profile, they're looking at your resume, they're looking at your interview readiness from a recruiter's perspective. And if there are gaps, they help you identify those gaps. If there are red flags, they help you flag those red flags so you can fix it before you hit the actual market. So I want us to just imagine for a second that with an investment that you're going to make in terms of money, a financial investment, and also in terms of time, say 2-3 months of 7 to 8 hours investment in learning, in getting your hands dirty, in practicing, what it means to be a BA or a PM or, whatever role that you're interested in. Just imagine for a second, with that investment, you get up to $105,000 per annum. You get the ability to work from home, maybe a couple of times a week, maybe full work from home. You also get endless career opportunities, because once you position yourself as the MVP or that expert, opportunities will come knocking on your door. So imagine a situation where in the next, say, 2 years, you're in a position where you can ask some of these questions that Kelly asks. You're asking, what's the rate? When you're serious, come talk to me. I'm busy with another client right now. What if you can get to that point in the next couple of years? What if you have the stability, you're able to plan long term, you're able to get a mortgage? What if you have more time to spend with your family? Again, all of this is on the back of a simple investment of money and also of your time to learn the trade. So with that in mind, I'll kind of take us quickly through the coaching structure. So all our programs will last for a period of 8 to 12 weeks, and these are online programs. So you join the session online. We meet typically twice every week, where we go through different aspects of the life project. So think about it as you're building a platform, you're working on a real life project. You're going to have team members, you're going to have, colleagues, you're going to have real challenges that you can talk about during interviews, etc. And that is what our program is all about. Okay. Now, one thing I always like to reiterate at this point is that most times people assume that, or some people think learning is hard. It's like, in high school, in primary school, growing up, a lot of people thought mathematics was really hard. But then after a while, they got a new teacher and then they realized, wait, this is not as hard as I thought. And then they realized that the problem was not maths being difficult, but the fact that they had a crappy teacher all along. So learning is easy when you have the right teacher. And once you have the right teacher, they break it down in such a way that you're like, wait, is this it? And the answer is really yes, this is it, because it has been broken down for you in a way that you will understand. Now, the last question we took was from, and I can see we have quite a few questions here. We'll get through as many as possible. The last one was from B. The next one is from Go Finkel. So I've always stayed away from LinkedIn. how can I build a brand on LinkedIn and not feel like a narcissist? Maybe gear my portfolio towards helping others in my industry somehow. So, Kelly, this is for you.
How do you not become a narcissist? So I think there's a fine line between telling your story, using your voice and owning your narrative versus bragging. There's a
Mm,
fine line, right? So um, when you think about this, when you walk into interviews on your resume, how do you paint a picture of what you've done, your achievements, right? So think about that. And let me also say this. If you are one of those people that the way you live your life hinges on how other people think about you, what would they say? Oh, what would they see? Oh, they say they see me doing this. You're going nowhere. Um, I know Steve is a good cop today. I'm the bad cop. I'm just going to tell you the way it is. I'm known to be very direct. You're going nowhere. If you would let other people dictate how you would live your life, how you move forward, you're going nowhere. I'm not saying don't focus on who you are and how and the value you give out to people. I'm saying understand where you need to get to, understand what you need, and you go there. So in terms of making sure you don't sound braggy, right? Again, if you've done something, think about it. If you've done something and there was an impact, there was value delivered, why is it bragging? You've done something, right? You've done it. Again, don't put it out there in a way that like, hey, I'm the only one who can do this on planet Earth. Maybe that becomes bragging, right? But highlight the value you bring to an organization, the value you bring to your friends, your family, to your community. And it's not bragging. Again, there's a fine line between bragging and owning your voice. And the truth be told, whoever has asked that question, I think you know if you're bragging. There's something called our conscience. We know when we're bragging over when we're not. I know for some of us that grew up in countries like around Africa, we're taught to just put our head down, learn the job, and you move forward. Unfortunately, the market is so competitive that if you don't advocate for yourself, if you don't own your narrative, if you don't become visible, unfortunately, you will miss opportunities. And what happens is if you don't own your narrative, some other person will curate a narrative for you, and most
mm,
likely it is not a narrative that is favorable to you. Period. End of story. So own your narrative, say it online, offline, at work, outside the corporate walls. That's your narrative. Again, I said this earlier. Ask 3 or 4 of your closest friends, what are my top values? What are my characteristics? If they all come back saying the same thing, then you have a strong brand you can start building on. But if they all come back saying X, Y, Z, there's no correlation, you are pretty much starting from scratch. You have no brand because people think brand is just online. I keep saying this. Your personal brand, it's a good place to start online, but you have to take it offline as well. At work, there was a new AI project we launched. The only reason why I was brought on to lead that project, I had to take it from someone else, is because I am known as, what do you call it? An early adopter of technology
mm.
within my workplace. So the only person's name that came up was give it to Kelly because Kelly will figure it out. So that is what a personal brand does for you, both offline and online. My friends come to me asking questions today because they believe if it's this thing, Kelly would know. That's a
Mm.
brand. So that's what you need to do for yourself. It's not bragging, it's owning your voice and owning your narrative.
Excellent. Maybe I can just follow that up with a quick question. Or maybe I have a comment on that, and I have a question. So the comment is, if you do something incredible and you talk about it, and people perceive it as bragging, what's like? It's why should you bother? Like, it's your achievement, right? So there's nothing narcissistic about that. It's just you sharing what you've done. And again, I think most times we've gotten to a point where we're so humble that even the wins, we can't share our wins because we're humble, right? And that is not great, especially when you want people to know of the incredible work you're doing. You have to share the work. And I'll tell you this, I struggled with this a lot because, primarily for TCA, we've just grown off referrals. So we weren't really, out there. Like, this is why I wasn't even visible in the community because I was like, no, I don't want to toot my horn of, how many people we've helped and the incredible thing we're doing and how, this person got 3 offers and how this person got a job within, 2 weeks of joining our program. And by the way, that has happened. We don't want to toot our horn, but you realize that people that are not achieving half as much as you're achieving are blowing it up, making the most noise, and then getting the most attention. And meanwhile, you that you're doing incredible work, you're not talking about it. Let's not use the word brag. You're not talking about it. So just see it as you sharing your experience, you sharing your knowledge, you sharing and telling your own story. So I think Kelly is absolutely right. You're the best person positioned to tell your own, it's your story. Nobody has lived your life. Nobody has gone through the challenges that you've gone through. And I promise you, because I get this every single time when I speak to people during the coaching calls, I find that everybody has like a beautiful story. Like it's just so beautiful that whilst talking to you or whilst talking to people, I can literally see the success story, like when they get a job, how they tell that story. So we need to own our stories. We need to share our stories. And again, there may be someone out there that needs to hear your story. Like they might be in that position that you were in yesterday, and they need your story to move to the next level. So you can't deny them of that ladder, right? So I want you to think about it not from the perspective of am I bragging or being, a narcissist? No, think about it from the perspective of, will this story help someone out there? Is there someone out there that could be inspired by this story? If the answer is yes, then I'll put it out there for that person, not for the rest of the people that may think whatever they want to think, which is insignificant, by the way. It's just for that one person. And I'll kind of wrap up with this. We've gone from at some point we used to post different things, but now we've just narrowed it down to because a student reached out to me once and he said to me, please can you post something for some of us that are in this phase of the transition journey? So there's a phase where you've done the program, you're applying for jobs, and you're going through different emotions or different moods or different strategies. Can you, kind of talk to us, basically? And now we've curated our posts to speaking to our people, speaking to people that are transitioning, just helping them understand the journey a little bit more. Because you can write a post to go viral. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can go viral repeatedly, but still not add value to individuals. So we've chosen the value route of tell stories that would add value, right? Like Kelly said, he met someone at the airport, and because of his posts, that person's life has been transformed. And people wake up in the morning expecting to see, what is Kelly saying today? What is Steve saying today? What is this person saying today? That person can be you. People are waiting to hear your voice. So the question I have for you, Kelly, is, and again, I know this might be slightly off, but there was a post you made a while ago, and just to demonstrate the power of just being visible. It was just a random post about, um, I think it was Uber and Lyft, and the post was there is Uber, there is Lyft, and people compare these platforms offline. So I want to go from, Niagara to Toronto. I go on Uber to check the cost, and then I go on Lyft to check the cost. Can't someone just build a platform that will just automatically compare these ride sharing apps for you, and then you can choose and just move on? And you got attention from a company called Replit, right? That this is a
Yes.
software, this is a huge, as huge as it gets. I mean, the founder of Replit is just Google Replit. Can you tell us about that story? I just want us to, even if we wrap on this story, that's fine. But I just want us to
Mhm.
understand the how important what we say. And this is sometimes you put something out without thinking twice, um, without realizing who is watching. And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
realize that by the time the attention starts coming, you realize that a lot of people are watching and they may not even engage with what you're saying. You might not see them anywhere your comments, but they see you, they know you, they're watching. And when they come for you, it will be big. So do you want to just maybe spend a minute telling us about the story? And then one more thing. So if anybody wants to ask their questions, please you can raise your hand and then we'll invite you to ask the question. Or you can also put it in the chat as well. But if not, then we'll just kind of gradually wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's an interesting one. And let me also say this. For those people asking, how do I start getting traction? Traction. I want to make it big on LinkedIn. The question you also need to be asking yourself is, are you ready? Once that traction comes, are you ready? My pastor says, I think last week Sunday is like, sometimes we pray to God, like, God, I need favor, I need favor. Are you ready for that favor? Because when I start opening these doors, when they come, can you handle it? So I think with the Replit one, what happened was, I think I was at the airport. I'll, so when I get to the airport, they know, obviously they've got GPS on your phone. So they know you're at the airport, you're looking for a ride. So I was jumping between, I think, Waymo, because here we've got Waymo, right? Waymo, Uber, and then Lyft. I'm just looking at the price. I'm like, the price disparity between Waymo and Lyft and Uber. Imagine all I have is Waymo. I would have paid this high price when I should have just getting this cheap price from Lyft. So I got my ride, got home, and then I think I was about to go to bed. I'm like, how come there's no platform that actually combines all of them in one place, right? So I was Googling, I couldn't find anything. I see some people were trying to build it, but Replit is a vibe coding platform. So if you haven't used Replit, Replit is like lovable. It's pretty much a platform just like ChatGPT. You go, you tell it, oh, I want to build this kind of thing, and it just builds it out for you quickly. It builds an app for your website. So try it out if you haven't used it. Just go to replit.com, Replit. So I went on Replit. I'm like, okay, imagine you're a software developer. I want to build this software where I combine all of these ride hailing apps on one platform where I just put in my address, put in where I'm going to, and it just shows me all the ride hailing, like it aggregates all of them, shows me the cheapest one. And I just click and pay. So I created it, I took a snippet of it, and I wrote about it on LinkedIn. It was like 3, 4 paragraphs, and I left it. And I forgot about it. I think I came back from work that day because again I thought just one or maybe 1,000 people would see it. I came back 400,000 impressions later. I'm like,
Wow.
what's going on? So I'm like, oh. So I started looking at the comments. This is hundreds of people saying we would love this because we do the same thing at the airport. We do the same thing from our house. We jump from one app to the other. We can save time. So I'm like, okay, let me. So I started working with a team on it. And eventually Repli reached out. Like, hey, we saw this stuff you're building. We'd like to pair you with 2 of our engineers. You guys explore to see what you can actually build. So I jumped on a
Wow.
call with them. They showed me some additional tricks. They're like, okay, if you can get it to this point, we'll bring in more people to continue building it. And
Wow.
we're still in that phase. Unfortunately, we ran into some issues where Uber wants us to pay X amount of money to get access to their API. I'm like, I don't have that money. Sorry, guys. So we're currently, me and the team we're trying to work around it.
Mhm.
But that is what can happen when you create something just for yourself. I created it for me
Yeah. Yeah.
and wrote about it. But guess what? People across the planet came and said, we have to build this. Why has no one built it?
Mm.
And companies like Replis are like, sure, let's look at it. So that is what you need to do for yourself. Um, and let me end with this story. So the first in person, because now I teach a lot about LinkedIn. I get brought out to organizations, to community centers to teach people about LinkedIn like this. And let me tell you, the first LinkedIn speaking gig I got was I went to an event. First and foremost, I shouldn't have been in that event, by the way. It was an event for founders. This was in Waterloo. I'm like, there's nothing I'm doing this evening. Let me just drive to this event. So I drove. All the founders had their name tags, their name, the name of their company. In my case, I just wrote my name. So guess what happened? People were attracted to me. They kept on coming to me like, oh, we see you only have your name. What's the name of your company? I'm like, I don't have a company. They're like, oh, so why are you here? I'm like, well, it's an event. It's free. It's open to anyone, right? So I started like networking with people. While I was about leaving, I saw this lady and this other black lady standing next to her. This was the only other black person in the room. So I walked up to them. I'm like, okay, just black on black. Let me just say hi. I'm like, hey, hi, my name is Kelly. And then she said, oh, her name. I'm like, oh, you're Nigerian as well. She's like, oh, this is my colleague. So we started talking. I told a colleague, oh, I'm an engineer, but these days I'm into project management, blah, blah, blah. I do a bit of LinkedIn stuff on the side. And she looked at me, she's like, no kidding. She's like, okay, here's my card. We exchanged card. And 3 months later, this woman messaged me on LinkedIn. She said, I've been watching you and I see what you're doing on LinkedIn. We have a program coming up. It's a 2-day program. We need a facilitator. The focus is on engineering and LinkedIn. It's like we struggle to find one person who's an engineer, but also good on LinkedIn. I'm like, technically, I'm the only guy around that can do that, right? So
Yep.
guess what I asked her? I'm like, is this paid? She said, it's paid. I'm like, what's the budget? The moment she called the budget, in my head, I'm like, wait, that's what you will pay me? And the reason why I jumped up with joy was the first speaking engagement I ever got, they paid me with a I think $200 or $300 Walmart gift card. And
Mm.
to me, that day, I was like, "Ugh," right? They'll pay me. But then the number she called was a 2-day event. I showed up, I did a gig. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Show up online, but
Mm.
also show up offline.
In
So
person,
it's
yeah.
not just do one and leave the other. And that is what can happen when you own your voice, have confidence, believe in your abilities, you show up online, people will watch you, they see you, and then they start opening doors of opportunities for you. That's how it works.
Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I can say for a fact that I've experienced that firsthand because that was the conversation we had 2 years ago, and then I started showing up in person more, and I have a booth at an event this afternoon
There you go.
at the University of Toronto. It's called Power of Community. If anybody will be there, please come to our booth. But it's just part of that intentionality, right? So again, it's great to hear all of these stories. It's great to be a part of this event. It's great to learn all these strategies, but you need to take action, and that action could be decide today, okay, I'm going to start applying what I've learned. I'm going to start posting. I will post today. It could be as simple as, what can I post from today's event? Tag TCA, tag me, tag Kelly. You have 3 likes guaranteed. You can imagine that. You have 3 likes guaranteed. But again, you never know what could happen from there, right? So you just
Mhm.
you need to start and then follow the steps, the homework, optimize your profile. Again, you have the tools you need to optimize your profile. So it's not a big deal. And then for those that want to just completely blow up their careers and transition into any of these tech roles, we have an incredible discount on the screen. So please make the most of that. But what I want everybody to promise me today is that you're going to invest in yourself, right? Because the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you will earn. There is no way around it. There is no way. You have to add to yourself so you can give more. You can't give what you don't have. You know, one of the things that I wrote a post about Kelly, and it's probably amongst my top 10 performing posts, the one I wrote about Kelly, and it was just an appreciation post for the value that he has added to me in terms of just the things he has shared with me that has helped me in terms of like this space that we're in, like what he's saying to you, he has said it to me. So I'm not telling you what I'm not doing. I'm telling you what I am practicing till tomorrow. Monday, we have a LinkedIn post going out there. Tuesday, we have another one going. Wednesday, we're on LinkedIn, right? So it has worked for me. The 2 platforms that have worked for me, one, LinkedIn, two, YouTube. We have an active presence on YouTube. So, please give us a subscribe to us, follow us. If it's educational, career related content that you're interested in, you rest assured we'll give it to you on YouTube. So these are the 2 platforms that has served me. And LinkedIn, Kelly is responsible for LinkedIn. So please invest in yourself. Register for one of our programs, be a part of this ecosystem where we continue to equip you with information that will help you stand out. But also just, you know, put out that post, right? So take action, even if it's just one, just post it and you'll be incredibly surprised at what will happen. But we're going to wrap things up here. I know it's been a bit longer than we planned, but because we're so passionate about giving value, we don't mind staying a little bit over. But we do appreciate every single person that has stayed on the call till now. All our handles are on the screen. So at the careeraccelerators.ca, someone reached out to ask for our YouTube. Just use at the Career Accelerators everywhere you'll find us. You can follow me personally on LinkedIn, Stephen Adindo. You can follow Kelly. Please follow Kelly, Kelly Boyi on LinkedIn as well. Every day, all the posts he spoke about, I saw them firsthand. The one I left Canada, I saw it first, and I was like, OMG. And then it completely blew up. And I saw him in on I think it's CBC News or one of those outlets. And I was like,
Yeah, CTV. Yeah.
CTV, yeah. So anyway, it's been an incredibly rewarding session just sharing this knowledge with you. Thank you so much, Kelly, for making out the time. I know we've gone beyond the initially planned time, but I do appreciate you sticking around and just pouring yourself out. I do appreciate it so much. And everybody else, if you want to, have further conversations, our information is on the screen. So reach out to us. You can email us. You can give us a quick call. You can follow us on all platforms. But our goal is we look forward to succeeding with you. Okay, so register for one of our programs. Follow Kelly, but please post something. I'll be looking out for your posts. I'll be looking out for your posts so I can engage. Post something, tag me, tag Kelly. Let's take the action we need to take and look forward to succeeding with everybody. Do you have any final words, Kelly?
Well, no, thank you for the opportunity to be able to enlighten and educate about 70 people today. And I know it's obviously going to change someone. I always tell people sometimes while I try to educate people, I know there may be a handful of people that would actually take it and actually run with it and see to the end. And those are the people I leave for. That's the truth. Those are the people that will message me 6 months or a year and say, thank God I jumped on that call that day and you changed my perspective. Because you changed my perspective, it impacted my life and the life of my family significantly. So thank you for the opportunity. And I think for those considering to take part in the TCA program, absolutely. Please do take part in the program. If you join, I always say this, those people that engage in each of the classes, those are the people that actually learn. I know vividly when we're talking about risk register, like, okay, who's going to share their screen? And maybe crickets, no one is raising their hands. The people that actually share their screen and walk through the issues through the MS project, those are the people that actually learn, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
at the end of the day, I keep telling people, it's not really about the knowledge. At least for me, when I joined your class, it was more confidence it gave me, right? It was confidence. And by the time I was done the program, I had enough confidence. I already started working as a PM. So the program eventually became a formality for me towards the end. But it's that confidence it gives you, right? So I'll tell those on this call considering, please take it. It's a no-brainer. I paid more than you guys are paying right now. So you're getting a steal. So yeah, so thank you again for the opportunity. And for everyone that joined us today, thank you very much for giving me your ears and wishing you the very best. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn if you've got any additional questions. I'll do my best to respond to you or try to connect you with someone I can. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Kelly. We do have a quick poll, which is on the screen. Again, we didn't want to interrupt the session, so we thought we'll save it for the end. So if you can take 1 minute, couple of seconds to fill it out, that would be highly, highly appreciated. But again, our goal is to give you value. So if there's any other topic you would like us to cover, I think there's a section where you can pop that in. And then we can plan for that session because it's all about providing value with folks. And with that, we'll wrap things up with this video.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everyone.